So, it looks like we are pretty much set and ready to go. Our bans are coming up now for those of you who are new to this competition. Basically, it will be a stage ban strike system. So, top seed will ban a stage from the 5 starter stages. Those stages are Buster Beach, Temple Grounds, Mausoleum Sparring Ring, and DNA Labs. So, currently we're going through the paces. Sparring Ring, Buster, and Mausoleum were already banned. We're going to start on Temple Grounds between these two individuals. Once the initial point is done and dusted, from the second point onwards, remember the best of threes at the start, 2 counter pick stages will be added to the mix-up. Those 2 counter picks are Ninja College and Via Dulce. The winner will ban 2 of those 7 stages. The loser will pick 1 of the 5 remaining stages to play on. And we are set and ready to go. So without further ado, let's begin. On the left-hand side of your screen, we've got Replicant. Coming in with Lollipop, Hydra, and Phoenix. On the right-hand side of your screen, we're going to have Ribbon Girl with the Biffler already put in Biff's face, large and proud on Replicant's side. Never great to really be having to flying on into that, alongside the Ice Dragon for Ribbon Girl as well, which is a very interesting pick. Definitely going to see how this combos up, so Replicant needs to make sure to keep that at bay. Obviously, the Dragon is a more long-range utensil, and Biffler is having so many good hits so far today. The Hydra obviously gives that a little bit extra power, especially because of the fact it is a fire elemental. The Biffler, however, is really getting on Replicant's nerves here. Replicant really on the back foot in the early goings here, and I'm actually quite surprised to see that going down. So, Ribbon Girl going to be backed into the corner. It's going to rush out of that, having to do so because that Hydra would have absolutely taken them down. Unfortunately, doesn't get anything with the rush on that exchange, and the Hydra is going to run right through them once more. And now Replicant just biding their time, goes for the rush now. This should be a good amount of damage, sends them into critical at the very least. Very good start from both of these two. Very nervy, very cagey affair. But so far, Replicant has finally managed to wrestle back control. Does get clipped by the Ice Dragon though, and that means both dip into critical. Temporal now 1 hit away from going down in the early stages. Manages to at least deny the Hydra somewhat, but with 15 seconds to go, they are the ones who have to make the move. Having said that, they also do have rush if they wish to go for it, and Replicant knows they have to come forward. Hydra just about missing. The Ice Dragon just about not quite clipping as much as they'd like to. Goes for the rush. Can they get any purchase on it? No, they can't. Chip damage and nothing more. And Replicant starts with rush advantage as well. Well held there for Replicant in the early stages. Definitely had to weather out the very early storm and pressure that Temple was bringing to the table. That Biffler really was giving them so much aggravation, but now, with all the pillars done, and just Biffler is going to find its mark. First time of asking once again, but Temple does get the shield at this time around, does not fall foul to the Hydra combination. The Bertrug is on that right arm for Lola. And again, just trying to keep Ribbon Girl grounded as best as they can. You know, the 3 vertical bolts, definitely a bit of a difficulty for Ribbon Girl to sometimes bounce on into, so I say bounce on into, knowing full well that Lollipop is the literal bouncy character in this, but Ribbon Girl so hard to hit sometimes, very fast, very agile, it must be said. Again, just quickly twirling away from another potential onslaught. Tempo really does need to get a better purchase with the rush. Unfortunately, gets nothing of it, and again, Replicant gets fully around it. So far, Temple has been 3 for 3 on rush disconnections, basically. They're not really getting as consistent as they'd probably like to, and unfortunately, way too close for Replicant for comfort. That's what happens when you get pinned into a corner like that. It's very easy to shut you down, and Temple does get pinged into critical condition. Replicant has a massive health lead. That Biffler right at the start was really pretty much the only damage that has gone against Replicant this entire second point. And whilst Temple has been a hard target to hit, the hits just keep on coming from Replicant, and Temple is just not able to take advantage of it. They do at least get another Ice Drain, but it's going to be too little, too late. Temple again can't connect with the rush. Replicant just slides out of the way. And this is why Replicant is a 3-time winner. They lead the set by 1-0. So a 2-0 in the end for Replicant. The first point definitely had to weather the storm in the initial early goings, but crucially for Replicant, they were able to bounce that back quite nicely and just shut down Temporal on each occasion. Heck, on top of that, they were able to just sort of like slow them down, force them into the corner, able to sort of like get around each of the rush attempts that Temporal was flinging at them, and coming back with each of their own. Just again, patiently played by Replica. They knew they did all of the hard work pretty early on in that second point, and it was just Temporal was always going to fight an uphill battle, but a very good strong showing from that first point. And definitely using Ribbon Go well, able to sort of like keep that evasion tactics going, but unfortunately they just were not consistent in terms of the accuracy and getting those punches where they mattered. And again, 4 out of 4 rushes did not connect for Temporal, so we'll have to see if they can at least hit one of those in our next matchup as we head on over to DNA Labs. Both of our players are going to stay the same. Both of our players going to stick with Lollipop and Rip and Girl. The rest are toast in the back if Temporal wants to bring it out, but nope, it is still going to be Biffler and Ice Dragon. So again, a very big stage, so it makes sense for the Ice Dragon to come back on out for Temporal. But again, there's got a lot of tubes around here, and that's why Replicant is bringing on in the Chakram. Not the Chakram, the Coolerang. I love the Boomerang, but a little bit cooler. To try and again, slow down and stall out Rip and Gold. The second you get caught with a freeze ability, you lose your abilities completely. So it's always going to be a hard one, and especially for Rip and Gold, they excel with that speed, and that is going to be to make that 3 chains in a row with the Coolerang. And Temporal just can't get out there, finally get a hit of their own with the Dragon. But again, look at the damage already done, and again, 5 for 5, cannot do anything with the rushes. Replicant punishes it with ease, just swinging on around the outside, not going to get a rush of their own this time around either. But Temporal is already in critical. Meanwhile, Replicant not even phased, got hit maybe once or twice, and that's been about it for this matchup. And Temporal just 1 hit away from going down. Replicant has Rip and Girl's number at this stage. And Temporal's got it all to do once we go into the next point, because you feel like it will go the other way at this stage. It's almost like damage limitations for Temporal. If they can at least get a rush up, they'll at least take it into the next point, because you'll definitely want to have rush advantage going in. They do get a freeze and a grab with 13 seconds to go, so Replicant can't get too complacent here, and Temporal's going to go for the rush, but that was a bad idea. 6 for 6 now, with no rush punishes in the slightest, and that is going to be a KO and gives Replicant rush advantage into the next point. Yeah, not what Temporal needed at all. 6 out of 6 rushes have not landed against Replicant, and Replicant again starts this with rush on hand, just pops up the shield, waddles on forward, since that's exactly what Lola can do, one of the few characters that has the ability to just be able to move around with their shield deployed. And again, putting so much pressure on the Temporal already. That is an arm down. That is a rush confirmed. Nothing was going to stop that from happening. And 350 damage with the Hydra and the Power Baller. Again, always good to see the Electric Umbrella getting some love. Almost like a mini shield sometimes. Biffler does manage to leave its mark once again. I do hope you like the mascot of this series. No, it's not Springman. It is actually Biff. And there it is again. More of Biffler's good old tongue-in-cheek face, as Temporal is pretty much on the cusp of critical. Replicant again still comfortably above 75%, and again with rush pretty much set and ready to go, you feel like it's only a matter of time before Replicant finds another way of just slowing Temporal down, pitting them to the corner and going in for the rush. And there it is, fully committed with the grab. Nothing that they were going to be able to do about that, and Replicant is going to take that by 2 points to 0 through to the next round they go. Yeah, pretty much nothing that Temporality could do about that in the end. Was a good showing in that first matchup, but the second Replicant knew what their playstyle was, knew what to be looking out for, able to pin them into the corners and keep the Dragon shut down. They were always able to get the better of Temporality style, and none of those rushes really able to make any kind of a dent that they'd like to. So much better there. But Replicant is going to take that by 2 points to 0 into the next matchup. And with that, it is. We'll see how Temporality does in the underground bracket as we move on forward. We do know that Sheddy, coming back from a long time away from the EU ARM scene, has managed to best Occam by 2-0. So already our round 2 is looking quite spicy. Iceman will be taking on Replicant. Junior will be taking on Sheddy. Alistair and Yoshi and Aloya and Ghost are still underway with their respective matches, so hopefully we'll see how that all plays out soon. But again, with 2 of our round 2 matches already set and ready to go, looks like we are having a little bit of issues happening in some of our other round 1 matches, so we'll see how that one plays out. But we are going to see a very spicy, very anticipated match in round 2. Yes, Iceman and Replicant, we've seen them do this time and time again, but crucially for round 2, we are going to be having a look at one of our returning players. It will be Junior, going up against Sheddy. This is going to be a fantastic matchup. Of that, I am absolutely certain. We haven't seen Sheddy around for a very long time. And like I said, the last time that they were able to pull out a win of their own, it was the 43rd Cup. Their most recent appearance in the top 3 was the 47th, actually, where they finished 3rd. They finished 3rd a lot of times in this competition. But like I said, only getting into the finals 3 times. One of them was a runner-up spot. 2 of those were the all-important Challenge Cup victories, which is what you always want to see. So this is going to be a very fun and interesting matchup here. But yeah, like I said, for those of you who don't remember who Sheddy is, Sheddy basically went on an absolute tear back in the day when Believe was running the Planet Scrapstar, the Scrapstar series with Planet Scrapstar, and I got the chance to be able to co-host with them, co-cast with them every now and then. And Sheddy was always on form in that competition. Like, Sheddy was always winning them. Like, we know, like, for the longest time, it was Yada who was, like, always on charge here, and then Riffer was catching on up with the amount of wins. But in Scrapstar, it was all about Sheddy. Like, it was always just, there they go, it's another win. So, that was pretty much, like, the big 2 names back in the day. It was Yada with Riffer and Iceman both catching them up at very quick speeds. And then on Scrapstar, it was all about Sheddy. Like, so that's how it goes sometimes. There's no 2 ways around it. So, but yeah, we haven't seen them in a long time. So we'll be very happy to not just see them back, but see what they've been up to. See if they've switched up their characters and their arms slowed out a little bit more. Whilst we wait for that matchup to get ourselves underway, we will keep you up to date on what else is going on around the scene. Remember, down in underground bracket already is our Temporality and Arkham. Temporality will take on the loser of match 7, which is the match you're about to see live here, which is Junior versus Sheddy. Meanwhile, Arkham will take on the loser of match 6, which will be the other match that is ready, which is Iceman and Replicant. So again, some very big names for them to take on, regardless of who loses in this setup. Remember, Aloy and Ghost will take on Riffer, the winner of that round 1 match. And the same goes for Alistair and Yoshi, the winner of that will take on Grimwood in round 2. We are starting to gear on up for the next batch of this competition. And hopefully you're enjoying yourselves so far. We've had the 1 match so far. It's always, generally the early goings, you'll often see them go to match 2 and then we'll move rapidly on. That can be the nature of fighting games sometimes, where the higher seeds have the lower seeds, and you know, the higher seeds are generally like, you know, if they don't get the bye, they're still a force to be reckoned with because they're probably in the top 3 a number of times, or they have been a former winner. And that's actually a thing to note here. Like, in this tournament today, we have 6 former winners in the form of Sheddy, Junior, Replicant, Grimwood, Iceman, and Riffer. That is in order of lowest wins to highest wins. So, yeah, again, it's a very stacked lineup today. So if you get knocked out very early on, don't stress about it too much. Don't be too disheartened. You are literally going, like, you literally have half of the field who have never won and half of the field who have won twice or more. It's like, it's not just the case of they've won once. They've won twice or more. Junior and Sheddy both winning 2. Replicant winning 3. Grimwood 7. Iceman 13. And Riffer on that record-breaking 19, looking for the 20th, looking to be that first person to make it into the 20s, which would just be nuts in and of itself. So our lobby is up, and we are getting our characters and players loaded in pretty much now. Junior is the one hosting the lobby, and there is Sheddy. So the bans have begun between these two, and gosh, this is going to be exciting. Again, Sheddy and Junior very much equal on stats, pretty much. I mean, they're very much in that same kind of ballpark. Sheddy with 2 wins, Junior with 2 wins. Sheddy's finished second once, Junior's finished second 4 times, but Sheddy has been in the top 3 a bit more, with 7 third places as opposed to Junior's 1. So very much even in terms of those stats. Obviously, Junior has made it into more grand finals, which obviously, you know, you look at that as like, okay, yeah, they're consistently getting into the finale at the very least. But Sheddy is always there or thereabouts in terms of the top 3 positions. So this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to see if Sheddy has indeed still got it, or if Junior is just going to show that consistency that we know and love from them. So, and yeah, Grimwood, just to double clarify that, yes, Sheddy has won 2 of these cups before. The most recent one was the 43rd cup, so it's been a very, very long time ago. So, Junior on the left-hand side of your screen as Kid Cobra immediately gets grabbed by Sheddy, who is not messing around in the slightest. Ribbon Girl, Roaster, and the hottest of slaps very much in Junior's face, who is not going to take that very kindly. Finally gets the grab in. Ram and Guardian, and Sheddy is already trying to bounce all over the place, trying to match Junior's very quick and aggressive playstyle, and actually gets another hot slap in. This is going to be some chaotic goodness between these two, I'm absolutely certain. Does get tagged with the ram and immediately hits the deck. And you see every single time Junior just trying to pin Sheddy into the corner, and Sheddy is just not giving them the time to do so, and actually scores with the rush early on as well. 295 pops Junior into the cusp of critical. Sheddy not too far away from it themselves. Again, that Guardian is so scary, so intimidating. Gets another grab, and Junior again straight up in Sheddy's face, just always flinging that Guardian straight out, knowing full well they can bring it back as quickly as possible. Not quite ready on that rush yet. Sheddy just about keeping up with Junior at this point in time. Another little tap with the slap, and Junior is gonna get the better of it. Almost got tagged with another slap, but has to force out the rush as they pinned Sheddy into the corner. Fast and frantic start here, and boy howdy, Sheddy has not missed a beat since we last saw them. And so off we go again. Rush is not going to get any purchase this time around. Junior was already set and on the move, and the ram was always going to pick them out of the sky. Speaking of out of the sky, that's a grab in mid-air as well. And Sheddy finally getting caught up just a little bit more. Junior now showing how much consistently better they have gotten. Again, the Guardian not going to quite get anything. It's always good to see Sheddy bringing in that curved utility, knowing full well that the Guardian, yes, it is still scary. It is still doing a lot of work alongside that ram. And just again, look at how close they're getting up to Sheddy at this point. But another quick little slap into a grab combination gives Sheddy a bit more breathing room. And that's what Sheddy has to be careful of if they do get knocked down. And that is going to be another knockdown. Shock into a grab. Junior has rushed. They're looking for anything at this stage. The grab doesn't quite KO though. One more hit will absolutely do it, and Sheddy knows full well they're going to have to be very careful here. Actually goes for the rush, gets the rush. It's exactly what they needed. 285 puts them on the cusp of critical. Junior just needs to hit anything, and there it is. Sheddy a little bit too overcommitted on that one. They knew full well that Junior was going to have to try something. They slid straight in, rushed in, 2-0 win. But Jesus Christ, Sheddy, you haven't missed a beat. Wow, this is going to be quick, fast, and frantic. And I don't know what else I expected. I did say this was going to be a heck of a matchup between these two. And yeah, Sheddy started. I love the fact that we were all like, I wonder how good Sheddy's going to be coming back into this matchup when we haven't seen them in literal months. And they started off with a successful grab against Junior immediately. It was just like, all right, Sheddy really hasn't missed a beat. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Not gonna lie, that was a pretty neat fight. Yes, Junior did win that by 2 points to 0, and therefore takes the lead by 1 point to 0. But having said that, though, Sheddy very much on top form, still being able to do a lot of what we know Rip and Girl could do. Bringing in that hot slap, which is a curved utility, definitely good against an arm like the Guardian, but Junior's playstyle, we know what they're like. They immediately just imposed themselves. The second they knocked Ribbon down, they were straight up in their face against the corner, and they always get themselves so many positions to be able to work from. We are going to see the Twin Tail from Sheddy, so we really are seeing everything from Sheddy in the early goings. Ribbon and Twin Tail, two characters they very much used to play back in the day. So we're going to see if the Actress Aura can try and slow this down a little bit more and give them some more openings of their own. Actually forces the self-destruct on the nade that Junior is bringing to the table, as it's going to be Roaster and Shakram for Sheddy. So going for some stun approaches, and actually gives themselves a bit more of a bigger hitbox and gets the grab as well. Junior shielding right in front of Sheddy, and that really didn't give them any of a choice to go for another stun into a grab combination, and it's Sheddy proving they really have not lost it at all. Sheddy has Rush available, Junior not so much. Rush is coming out, actually tags the self-destruct, but that wrestles the rest of the Rush away. So Sheddy doesn't get any more points of damage for that, which is a tad unfortunate. And the Rush is going to come up from Junior, 265 with that Guardian Nade Rush combination. Both very much on similar health here. Junior slides on in with the Nade, just immediately just destroys them in their face. Arm weak on the left hand side, but a tap into the grab means they're both into critical with 30 seconds to go, and we've seen the Chakram be very consistent so far in this matchup. Couldn't quite get the grab they were looking for. Arm weak, but it doesn't matter, and Sheddy does get a point. But question is, can they actually tie this set up? Junior gonna stick with the nade, and immediately, as they started off in the previous matchup, starts with a grab and lands the Roaster as well, which instantly floors Junior, who's gonna get tagged by what? Tagged by the Rush as well. Junior's on the cusp of critical. Stun into critical. Sheddy's going for perfect. This would be monumental. No, it's not gonna happen. Sheddy nearly gets a perfect on their first appearance back in months. That would have been monumental, but Junior finally manages to slow this matchup down, bring it back towards their favor a little bit, but knowing full well any kind of damage will take it away from Junior. At this stage, Sheddy finally passed the halfway mark. Junior is now going in wall for wall, one-to-one combos. Another grab is going to wrestle it from Sheddy, who is into critical. Junior has so much confidence at this stage. AoE damage, getting it from Sheddy. Here comes the Rush, it hits! It hits! We're going to one apiece. We're going to match 3. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Junior was riding on so much momentum there. Right as I thought Sheddy was going to get a perfect, the second Junior got that one hit in to take it away. Boom, the entire tide seemed to turn, and it looked like Junior had it under control, but no, it is not to be. Sheddy does finally manage to find that last hit they were looking for, gets them a point in this set, takes it to 1 apiece, and this, my friends, is going the distance. Our first best of 3 of the day that will take us to matchup number 3, and these two are going to just lock this out. Sparring ring from start to finish. The tripod is back there for Twin Tail if Shetty does want to bring it to the table, but not going to happen. It's going to be both of the Rams coming on in. So Shakram and Hamram coming out, paired up with the Guardian and the Roast respectively. And look at how much confidence Junior has at this point. Walling Shetty into the corner, not allowing them to get out. Finally, the Ram at least gets a poke around, but look at the amount of damage and consistent hits Junior has had so far. Able to just pin Twin Tail into the corner and not give Shetty an option of coming out, but finally gets a grab in and slows this down a little bit. But even with the Actress Aura, that grab was always going to connect, and Junior just walling Shetty out time and time again. The Ram comes around the Guardian, and it gives Junior set point, absolutely shutting Shetty down, knowing full well what Shetty's playstyle is going to be here, and immediately goes straight on it, but does get caught by the Ram this time round, and a grab as well. Shield up for just a little too long, and Junior needs to just go at it. I feel like they can't really afford to stand around and do nothing against Shetty, because they will be on them like nothing. And already Junior at half health finally gets a grab of their own, does a little bit extra damage, especially with that Guardian as well. And it's going to be Junior who bounced first, and unfortunately Shetty did not get the shield up in time, takes a lot of damage there, just about avoiding the grab from Junior, trying to get that wake up weed, but not happening this time around, and goes in for the rush, just blocks it all the way through. 295 doesn't get the actual touch that would have sent them flying there, which was an odd moment for Shetty. You don't normally see that kind of thing happen, and now with both in critical, it really comes down to, can Shetty keep this set alive? They have to win this point to take us to a final point, as Junior gets another Ram hit. Junior almost at rush potential, and Shetty is just a hit away from going down, and Junior is going to come out. Shield has to be deployed. Chip damage and nothing more. Shetty has to be so careful. Anything will take them out of this with 30 seconds left on the clock. It's the grab! It's the grab from Junior. Shetty just trying to bide the time, wait for the rush to come up, but unfortunately it did not get to them in time, and Junior will end this set. It's a 2-0 matchup win for Junior again, but crucially in the set points, it's 2-1 to Junior, but goodness me, Shetty, you still got it. You never lost it. Goodness me, that was a wild ride from start to finish. And that is what we like to see. We like to see these kind of things happen, and Shetty absolutely determined to try and cause a little bit of a stir. And to be fair, they absolutely, definitely have done that. I mean, they took a point away from Junior, so that was awesome. That was such a good match, and with that, Junior will book their ticket into the semi-finals. But who will be joining them there? Because as of right now, round 1 is still not fully done. Aloria and Ghost are still going at it seems. Alistair has bested Yoshi by 2 points to 0, so Yoshi does drop into the underground bracket. And we do have confirmation that Aloria goes through. It looks like Ghost has had to give it up, unfortunately, so I'm not entirely sure what has gone on there. But in either case, Aloria is through to round 2. So Riffa versus Aloria, Iceman versus Replicant, and Grimwood versus Alistair are the matches that we are yet to see at this stage. So none of our semi-final matches are ready just yet, so we might actually have ourselves a bit of a spicy set, and yes, we will. So it will be La Champion, the revolutionary Riffa himself, to take on Aloria. We are going to have another round 2 matchup for you right here, and we are going to see what Riffa is. Well, we know what Riffa is capable of, but we're going to see if Aloria can do anything against them, to see if they can cause an upset in these early stages, send Riffa down into underground bracket, which, to be fair, if Riffa gets sent to the underground bracket, we normally expect it to happen in winners final, or maybe even semi-final if it's extra spicy, but we never see Riffa drop down in round 2. That just does not happen. So we'll see if Aloria can do something special, or if Riffa once again is going to just be too much to overcome. We will soon find out. But like I said, he is the reigning champion for a reason, and you're probably going to see why as we welcome Riffa and Aloya onto stream. So it does mean that the underground bracket has begun at the very least, considering the fact that Shetty will be taken on Temporality in Underground Round 1. Ghost will take on the loser of Grimwood Alistair. Ogrim will take on the loser of Iceman Replicant. And Yoshi will take on the loser of Riffa and Aloya. And we have seen Yoshi and Aloya go at it time and time again in this competition. So, it'll be interesting to see if Aloya can avoid that this time around by sending Riffa down there instead. You never know. You never know what can happen. And to be fair, we've seen Aloya do their fair amount of surprises before. In fact, they have managed to make it into the top 3 only once. Only once. And that was the 38th installment. So that is almost, like, literally the next cup that we run is 68. So practically 30 cups. So, 29 cups ago is when Aloya got their one and only top 3 position. They would absolutely love to throw everything for a loop. It would be special, but we'll see what happens. It looks like we have our stages set and ready to go. Riff on the left of your screen as Ninjara. We're pretty much used to seeing them between them and Misango. Generally is what Riffa often goes for. Meanwhile, Twintel for Aloya on the right hand side of your screen. So Riffa's call on DNA Labs, Tri-Blast and Ice Dragon. For Aloya it will be the Chakram and the Parasol. So our more windier variant of the umbrella. Meanwhile, Riffa again with those bolts, they cover so much range as it is, and obviously Ninjara with their ability to just be able to just teleport to either side if they get a successful shield block up. Just gives them a lot more mobility as well. But again, we've seen what a Twin Tail can do. We can see that Actress Aura trying to slow things down, but so far Riffa just keeping up their usual champion winning pace. Just keeping Aloya grounded and slowed down for the time being. Doesn't get the rush though this time around. Aloya just immediately swings around the DNA tube and just lets it take as much damage as possible, keeping that shield up just in case it does break through naturally, but still can't find a punch on Riffa just yet as the arm is weak on the right hand side. Does just about fade away, but again Riffa is still continuing out with so much pressure that you feel like it's only a matter of time before Aloya does drop on down. They do have rush set and ready to go, and finally does get a Chakram hit, loads it into the Parasol and sends them up into the sky. Couldn't unfortunately juggle them since they were behind the DNA tube, and unfortunately again the dragon just tips them away, as does the Tri-Blast, hits them once, explodes in their face, and pops Aloya into critical. 20 seconds left on the clock, and I think it very much is an unwinnable situation at this stage. Does manage to get a pick with the Parasol, but again it's only minimal damage, and Riffa is going to launch in with that KO in the end and give them the initiative. So both of our participants, both of which have rush ready to go, and they're going to pretty much stick with their weapons here at the moment. Chakram and the Roaster for Aloya though. Again, Riffa just slowly biding their time, just immediately doubling the back. Does actually get caught by the rush on the tail end of that. I don't think they quite expected that to actually hit them there. So Riffa does take rush damage, but immediately gets another hit with the Dragon and the Tri-Blast as well, and very much brings themselves not just level, but retakes the lead from that as well, and does have the rush to go as well. And just look at how consistent the Bolt and the Dragon are so far. Another successful 1-2 hit. Misses with the grab on this occasion, but again, with how frequently Aloya is flinging these arms out, yep, it was only a matter of time before it came out. Doesn't get the Dragon hit in time though. Aloya does manage to at least get the shield up. Arm weak on the right hand side, but Riffa isn't exactly hitting it as much as they'd like to, and does get tagged by the Roaster. Almost gets a success, another one. The tube does break, but Riffa gets away from the second rush this time around. and stays at that halfway mark. Aloya now just one hit away from going down and giving Le Champion the first point. Well, Riffa once again showing why he is the revolutionary arms fighter in the European scene, taking another point, just patiently playing that, going through the paces, and really giving Aloya a lot to work with. So, obviously now, banning sparring and Via, we're definitely not going to be seeing sparring ring again come up for quite some time, you get the feeling. Buster Beach will be the next stage on our selection, so obviously chosen by Aloya from the remaining 5 stages. And both of our participants are ready to go. Aloya going to bring in Min Min now, so a switch from Untitled. It'll be the first time we see Min Min today. Obviously that dragon arm, the left arm, very much going to be very spicy to keep an eye on. Probably will have the ram on there. Yep, there it is, the Shack Ram. So it'll become an even bigger threat, providing Aloy can get that perma-charged up and see if they can work with the more limited, more space than as opposed to DNA Labs. Meanwhile, Riffa, again, tried and trusted Triblast and Ice Dragon. As long as the Ice Dragon can hit in its charged up state and Riffa can knock Aloy down, that perma-charge arm will immediately decharge. And that's why they wanted to keep this pressure up. Because as long as that disc is big, it's a lot more of a threat for Rift to deal with. The dragon gets another tag, but it wasn't charged. Thankfully, the Triblast does knock them down, so that's the ram immediately degraded, but does get a knockdown of their own. Obviously, the Hydra with its fire elemental, as long as it hits charged, Riffa will immediately hit the floor, no matter what happens, though. But unfortunately, again, that chain with the bolts and the dragon is just proven just too formidable for Aloya here. Manages to catch with the chakram, but again, look at the damage already caused by Riffa, who has a massive health lead, gets another hit with the Triblast, because again, the 3 horizontal prongs, they're so difficult to deal with, and back-to-back hits from it will tip the point back to Riffa again. And Aloya says, screw this, let's just go in swinging. Double Roaster is going to be the pick. In fact, rushes immediately as Riffa was already on the way down. Nothing Riffa could do about that exchange. Does take the damage as a result, but now immediately forces Aloya into the hot pocket. Not where you want to be at all. At least gets the shield up for the dragon, but look at how quickly Riffa brings this back into an equal footing, let alone retaking the lead, and Aloya just can't get out of this area of the stage. Riffa is doing incredibly well to just be that hard anchor and not allow them to come back up. So even if they can get the dragon arm up on the roaster, they just can't do anything about it because they're just being outpaced, outgunned by Riffa's Ninjara. They are dropped into critical. They're pretty much a hit away from going down here. Riffa does have Rush set and ready to go, but they may not even need to use it. Rush is going to come out again, but Riffa is not going to get caught with it this time around. And now it really is just up to Riffa to just pull the trigger and end this setup. Riffa on the cusp of critical though, so can't overcommit. But then again, neither can Aloy, and that's exactly what they end up doing. They overcommitted as the dragon was already deployed, and that laser was always going to hit. Riffa wins this by 2 points to 0. And once again, he is in the top 4. He is in the semi-finals. I don't think any of us is surprised at this stage to see Riffa make it on through. And it is going to be the top 4 seeds. No surprises this time round. Riffa, Junior, Grimwood and Iceman all making it into the semi-finals. So no upsets on the cards this time around. So this is what it currently looks like. Our 2 semi-finals are Riffa versus Iceman, the 2 players who have won the most cups in this competition will have their matchup, and Junior and Grimwood will be taking on each other in the second semi-final. So it will be Riffa and Iceman first on your screens. Well, we've seen these two fight time and time and time again. Between them, literally between them, they have won 32 cups. That is how ludicrous it is between these two. Easily the two most decorated players in the Challenge Cup, and they are set and ready to go for your entertainment. River on the left on your screen coming in with Masango, coming in with the Cracker and the Coolerang. Meanwhile, Iceman on the right, coming in with Min Min, Sparky and the Ice Dragon. So, very different styles between these two, but we all know how aggressive River can be. Had the red mask on, quickly denied it, and now gets the yellow mask on as well. So these three masks have their own abilities. The red, obviously, that bit more aggressive, that bit more power. The blue, that bit more speed from Misango to be able to traverse around the stage with. And the yellow means that their rush is basically uncontested if a rush exchange does indeed go down. So River has a lot of different variations to play around with, and obviously the Cracker is such a quick arm in and of itself, and look at how much damage they've already dished up on the side of Iceman, who's on the cusp of critical, with River having rush set and ready to go and gets the mask up as well. They may not even need to utilize it at this stage, as Iceman is really struggling. They've got the Dragon Arm up on the Sparky, but can't make it work at all. Manages to get the avoid though, Iceman gets away with it, and that means that they now have a potential chance to come back into it. But having said that though, they are one hit away from going down. They probably won't use rush at this stage. They definitely won't now, as the Coolerang sweeps around yet again. And River's going to take the first point. But can they actually take the initiative in the actual set? We will soon find out. Iceman starts with rush advantage, and River knows full well they'll have to play this carefully. The Dragon can cause a lot of damage in the rush, but again, that Cracker can very much catch you off guard when you least expect it. Dragon is going to come up, but again, River knows what's coming. Will get that shield up and gets the grab as well. Red mask on as well, which means the grab goes up to 180. Gets caught with the Cracker as well. Really good read on Wake Up by River, and this is why he is a 19-time winner. Iceman going to come up, but River does not get the contest with the rush this time around. They didn't have the yellow mask on, so they wouldn't win it, and also gets grabbed as a result. So very good turnaround for Iceman at this stage, as River now finds themselves in critical condition, and Iceman not giving this up without a fight. Obviously, you expect that from him. Again, the Dragon is going to bounce off the shield for the time being. River knows time is of the essence if they want to go through with this. Red mask is on, even more damage now coming on down. Iceman comes into critical with them, and the laser is just not sweeping quick enough for them. 30 seconds on the clock. Iceman is one hit away from going down, almost has rush set and ready to go, but it's going to be River who's going to force the initiative. Iceman knew that arm was due to break, so if they shielded it, they would have absolutely taken the rush. They had to move, and River knew exactly which way they were going to dash. 1-0 to the Revolutionary River. And so, on to match number 2 we go. Mausoleum. Much like how when we saw Shetty and Junior go at it, it was just sparring ring after sparring ring. Now it's going to be Mausoleum after Mausoleum. And we are going to see a switch up from Iceman, who is going to decide to bring in Ribbon Girl. And look at the amount of firepower, no pun intended, on the side of Iceman, Toaster, and the hottest of slaps. Cracker comes out as well for River, so that stays tried and trusted. So it's going to be 3 fire elemental arms and 1 ice in the terms of that Coolerang, and River immediately going in for that blue mask, which to be fair does negate the mobility. So I say negates the mobility, it just basically makes them as quick as Ribbon Girl is. And arm weak on the left hand side for Iceman, which is not going to help them in the slightest. That Cracker also just going to keep them at bay. Going to get another hit though onto the central platform, so that'll weaken it up a little bit. Gets the grab as well, so Iceman still very much on the back foot. It has a bit of catching up to do, as River is just slowly controlling this matchup. And again, gets the totem, gets the mask, gets even more damage. 180 again with that grab. It's such a strong arm to have to be dealt with. Again, the grab not going to connect from Iceman. Another quick little hit with the Cracker. Shields up against the Toaster. But finally, Iceman is getting themselves back into this matchup. Riffa knows they just need one more hit. And there it is. It's going to be the Cracker and its big old AoE target that finally finds its way through and puts Riffa on set point yet again. And again starts off with an immediate charge and pops the yellow mask on to make sure that if Iceman does try to go for the rush, it will not go through as intended, because Riffa will have the initiative thanks to this ability. Catches Iceman in the air once more. And you just feel like it's just never ending for Iceman at this time. Riffa just keeps to get poke after poke after poke, and finally does get taken down by the Toaster. Has to avoid the rush, cannot avoid the rush. And that is 310 damage, exactly what Iceman needed. Finally turns this around, but now, crucially, they cannot afford to get caught by not just another one of those hits, but a rush as well would absolutely be disastrous. Chained into another 1-2 combination. Iceman suddenly draws level with health, and there is the trampoline. So, well, let's see which of those is will favor more. Rebel again will happily use that to their advantage. Riffa, I'm not entirely sure they'll be as confident to see the trampoline, but we also know Riffa, it won't bother them in the slightest either. Does get tagged by the hardest of slap. Iceman gonna try and bait out any kind of response, but has put themselves on the cusp of critical, and this is the last thing they need. Oh no, straight into a grab as well. One hit will do it. One hit will do it. Riffa doesn't even need to use the rush. The intimidation factor, that scare process of the yellow mask for that rush, just stopping Iceman from really having the confidence to go for it, and catches them on the back foot as well. Riffa takes this set by 2-0, and they are determined to make history here today. I mean, not that they haven't made history time and time again with every single new win, but they want to be the first person into the 20s, so, well, that's how you start to do that. And that means that they are, once again, in the top 3 of the Challenge Cup. And when I say once again, I don't mean it like in any sense of the tide of seeing it happening. It's just because Riffa is pretty much always there. Like, seriously, 19 wins, 15 second places, 8 third places. That tells you how consistent Riffa is at this game that we call ARMS. So, semi-final number 2 is being geared up for. It will be Junior to take on Grimwood. So for these two, they've got their own scores to settle. Grimwood with 7 cup wins at their name, and a lot of appearances in 2nd and 3rd places respectively. Junior with just the 2 wins to their names. They would definitely like to put themselves on that hat-trick. It would actually tie them with Replicant should they find a way of winning a 3rd cup today. But they've got a long way to go. Another best of 3 to deal with, and then knowing full well that Riffa awaits them in Winners Final, it does mean that anything can still yet happen at this stage. These two are incredibly experienced. They know exactly what they want to do, and meanwhile, whilst we get ourselves set and ready to go, Shetty has knocked out Temporality by 2-0. Okrim has taken out Replicant by 2-0, so that might be an incentive that Junior needs. Replicant is out in round 1. What? How has that happened? But, well, there you go. That sometimes is the luck of the draw. That is a massive, massive moment there as we get ourselves into semi-final number 2. Junior on the left-hand side of your screen as Kid Cobra coming in with that Rosa and the Guardian. Grimwood, meanwhile, coming in with maximum brass. It's going to be the nade and the boomerang for them at their disposal. They know they need to get around that Guardian and at the same time use that bulk up tenacity of Max Brass to just put on the pain. Catch Junior on the off guard, and even if Junior does start to rack up some points, knowing full well that that buff critical up state that Brass does have at their disposal once they dip down there can still deal the damage. Roaster, however, is going to find its way through from Junior's side, and again, just walling Grimwood down on that bottom area. Gets the grab, couldn't quite get the second in a row though. Does get clipped by a 1-2 combination and scores with the rush. So 370 damage sends Grimwood into critical, and now the buffed up state begins, and that nade punch straight through. Junior's attempt gets a roaster hit off their own, so they only need one more poke, but pretty much anything will do. And obviously Brass's size can sometimes come and play against them, but again, another big time grab. They want the hit, but they're not gonna get it. It's Junior who takes the initiative first. And here we go again. There's gonna be another rush immediately. This time it's gonna be Grimwood who gets the better of the opening exchange, but immediately before they can do anything else, caught on the back foot by another grab from Junior. And obviously with that Guardian combined, it just does that little bit extra damage, which does add up in the grand scheme of things. But again, walling them out in midair with another successful charged up roaster hit. But it's almost like they're trading these punches back and forth at this stage. But obviously Grimwood is able to chain this up a bit more consistently here, and is finally bringing themselves back into contention. They want to make sure that they book their ticket into the top bracket once more, and it is going to be a big old hug from Brass, sends them out into the corner, and that is going to tie this first point up. And away we go again for point number 3, who will actually be the one to take the initiative in this set. Well, Junior does finally get a successful read on that rush. Just wait it out, chip damage and nothing more. But again, Grimwood is not going to try and let Junior back in, but unfortunately a grab like that is most certainly going to do the trick. Another attempt to grab, not going Grimwood's way. Junior now slowly starts to bring this back towards their side of the field. Goes for the rush, but doesn't get it! The Guardian charged itself up, but couldn't unleash itself in time, as the Rang does fly around and catch Junior in the backside, so nothing Junior can do about it. It puts Grimwood in the driver's seat, can't quite get the grab, and Grimwood is not far away from rush. There it is, set and ready to go. Can't quite get the grab, gets the grab on the second time of asking, and Junior very much on the back foot here. And that is 345 damage, sends Junior into critical. One more hit is all that Grimwood is looking for as we move on forward into the final stages of our first matchup in semi-final number 2. And again, it's the boomerang that's going to catch Junior on the back foot. And it is Grimwood, the 7-time cup winner, who takes the lead in this, our second semi-final. So Grimwood determined to book their ticket into top 3. They want to try and get closer to making it into double digits for their wins. They've still got a ways to go, but Junior determined to try and at least get themselves a little bit more on their side of the field. They did so well against Sheddy. It was such a back and forth frantic matchup between those two. And it was always good to see Sheddy performing at a high level again. But Junior really wants to try and see that momentum in. They had a good start in that semi-final, but Grimwood, again, that Brass is always so scary to go up against. So Chakram, Guardian, Boomerang, Roaster, pretty much business as usual between these two. And we'll see how this plays out this time around. And again, Brass being forced into the corner, which you would feel like is definitely Junior's advantage going into sparring, since we saw how this went with Sheddy in the previous matchup. But Grimwood can't really afford to be fighting from the corner each and every time, because the Guardian has gotten 2 successful shocks into grabs in a row now, and Grimwood's already on the cusp of critical. And again, another successful shock from Junior to Grimwood. That's a massive health lead. Yes, Grimwood's critical, but it doesn't really matter because the punch goes down before they can even do anything in the state. Well, that was one-sided as heck for Junior, and again, starting as they mean to go on. Another hit, a wake-up grab as well, and Junior now operating on a completely different level. This is why you don't challenge Junior at sparring ring. Another successful shock. Grab confirming Grimwood. Ooh! Grimwood with the audacity to stop there, throw in the towel and still throw a punch in to make sure that Junior doesn't register a perfect. It's just the audacity of that man. But it's 2-0 for Junior. It's 1 apiece in this semi-final. And, well, I think Grimwood very quickly realized that picking Sparring Ring was the worst decision to make. Yeah, something tells me I don't think he'll be picking that one again anytime soon. Like, no matter what Junior bans here, there is very likely a chance that Grimwood will not go to Sparring Ring. And, yep, it is going to be DNA Labs. For our third matchup between these two, semi-final number 2. Junior on the left of your screen, Grimwood on the right. Will we see an arm change? Probably not. Nope, definitely not. Boomerang and Roast is still very much the call for Grimwood, which, to be fair, did work in the first matchup, but very much did not work at all in a closed environment like Sparring Ring. So we've already lost one tube immediately, which, to be fair, both of these fighters do have a curved arm, so they won't mind if the tubes stay up for too long. But again, they'll always gladly take a little bit of assistance, a little bit of extra shield, if they can find a way of being able to utilize them and still throwing around the rams. Just like Grimwood did there with the boomerang, charged up, sent Junior flying. Does get caught by the Guardian though. Last thing you want to be doing. Didn't quite get the angle to go through the tube. That one certainly did though. And down goes another one with a big old time grab. And Junior tried to get out of there. Actually does so. Took a tiny little bit of damage. Both went for a grab attempt, but it's Grimwood who gets the better of the exchange. Puts them in the driver's seat. Junior very much on the cusp of critical, but still goes for the rush anyway. 325. Grimwood passed the halfway mark, but Junior, crucially, is not slowing down at all. Grimwood now on the cusp of critical. Junior into it. Junior very much knows that with 25 seconds to go, they've got to be very careful. If they ping Grimwood into critical, they have to do it really as late as possible so that Grimwood cannot use that perma buff state of Grimwood to do extra damage to them. So very much a very patient game to play here. 10 seconds on the clock. Grimwood went for a grab. Junior is just dashing around for everything. And unfortunately, Grimwood says, no, that's enough. I will use Rush to shut this down. I know what your game plan is. That will be that. Thank you. And so Grimwood is a point away from booking their ticket into the winners final to take on Rither up there in the first best of 5 of the day. But Grimwood having to shield out and wait patiently to fire on with the Roaster. Does get caught with the grab on the back foot though. And Junior is doing everything they can to try and pin Brass into a corner. Gets another grab. Getting a lot of successful reads on this. And another grab. Junior now just going absolutely nuts with the grabs here. And Grimwood on the cusp of critical. Make that into critical. Junior opted for the Carsolina playbook of grab after grab after grab. And Grimwood finally tries to go for it. But it's too little too late. And that ties us up again. Who is going to make it into winners final? They're both set and ready to go. Both with their curved arm, both with their main arm, both coming at it with everything. And despite getting shocked, Junior opts to use the grab approach instead. To be fair, Grimwood coming back with a grab of their own and picks Junior out of the sky with the rang. Good start from them, but unfortunately jumps straight into them, gets caught with the rush, and that is 350 massive damage against the side of Grimwood, who bulks back on up, tries to wall out everything, goes for the grab, gets the big ol' hook, shoves Junior into the corner, tries to go for another one, but Junior with the audacity to grab one up of their own. Grimwood now in that perma critical charged up state, goes for the rush, bounces it off the Guardian several times before finally landing 125. Not the damage they would have liked, but at least it's damage nonetheless. Grimwood into critical, gets tagged with the ram, immediately pops on down, but tags in with the Roaster. Junior on the cusp of critical, has to be so careful. Nearly has rush set and ready to go, but Grimwood's relentless, just unrelenting assault here. Long range grab! What a long grab, and the big old emergency hug will take it for Grimwood in the dying moments of this matchup. How in the world did that grab connect? Grimwood wins this by 2 points to 1. Well, I don't know about you, but I was not expecting that grab in the slightest. And I guess, to be fair, neither was Junior. That was just utter filth. Spicy filth, if we can call it that. That was interesting, to say the least. But there we go. It is Grimwood who is going to get the better of Junior on this occasion. So it will be Grimwood who will be sticking with us in this lobby to take on the reigning champion, Riffa, in what will be winners final, our first best of 5 on stream for today. Whilst we wait for these two behemoths to get themselves ready, Underground round 1 is done and dusted. Alistair has beaten Ghost by 2 points to 0. Shetty beat Temporality by 2 points to 0. So too did Akram against Replicant and Eloy against Yoshi. So the Underground round 2 bracket currently looks like this. Alistair is going up against Shetty, which is a match that I want to see in and of itself. That is very much New Blood versus Old Blood. I definitely want to see how that match plays out. It's a shame we won't be able to see that on stream, but maybe another time. Arkrim, meanwhile, will take on Eloy. Alistair and Shetty will... Sorry, the winner of Alistair Shetty will take on Iceman. The loser of Junior Grimwood, which was Junior... Junior will take on the winner of Arkrim and Eloy. So... some very spacey matchups happening all over the bracket. If you are not following along, exclamation bracket, you should have it there, challenge.com/EUAC67. As we now get ourselves ready, take a quick drink, everybody. This is going to be a very frantic matchup. Riffa already wants to do their bans. We're just waiting on Grimwood to follow suit. But if you aren't having fun already, then I don't know what to say. I don't know what else to say to you. So, also, I think I did see somebody in the chat ask about the web captioner. The web captioner is here to make this as open as possible for anybody who wants to tune on in. If anybody comes across this and wants to know what is going on, I think it's always nice to have stuff like subtitles and captions up on the screen so everybody can follow along, whether or not they can hear things properly or not. So it's just a very nice thing. I just feel like that with this kind of stuff, it's welcoming to as many people as possible, and that's what we like. We want to try and promote an open community and an open competitive tournament settings for as many people as possible. So it's always nice. So with that being said, winners final. Our first best of 5 of the day. Grimwood on the left of your screen coming in as Coil with what is essentially going to be triple versus. Let's be honest. Riffa, meanwhile, Tri-Blast and the Coolerang, knowing full well the tenacity that Grimwood is going to come at them with, and immediately scores with the first of the verses. And when I say Grimwood is essentially running triple roaster, it's because Coil has the ability to, at random, get a bonus arm up on their charged side. So, which basically means if you come in with double roaster, you're pretty much coming in with triple, because there will always be a charged up third roaster. Does get caught with the Coolerang again. Not the Coolerang. Yeah, the Coolerang is the Coolerang. I don't know why I doubted myself there. I've done this so many times at this point. I should know what the arms are. Both with rush set and ready to go, and Grimwood is going to be the one who starts off first. Does not give Riffa the chance to get that yellow mask up, and immediately gets a long range grab as well. We saw it in the previous match, and does it again. All they need to do is find one more hit, and they will take the first point. But Riffa, well, I was going to say has the extra speed, but they do not become Destroyer of Worlds. They are going to fall foul of a Wayward Roaster. Grimwood thinking about doing the switch, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Immediately comes back in with the triple roast. Riffa, meanwhile, has it all to do. Finally gets a tag with the tornado, but can't get the rush. And Grimwood responds with a thank you in the form of a nice big ol' hug. The Tri-Blast will finally catch them out of the air. And actually, very good moment there for Riffa. Gets the red mask up and scores with the Rake Up Tri-Blast as well. Very good timing from the reigning champion. And actually just put Grimwood on the back foot a little bit here, despite having Rush set and ready to go. Riffa's not going to be too far away from it themselves. In fact, they will now be on it. And Grimwood now has to be incredibly careful because they will not want to rush. Whilst Riffa has the mask up, they will always be able to win out this exchange. Goes for it, tags it. This should be KO. It is not KO. Grimwood on 1 HP and 1 HP alone, and decides to get incredibly aggressive. Just about gets away from the Bolt, which I'm very surprised to see that. But finally the Bolt says hello and tags on in to tie this up. So Grimwood finally drops one of the roasters, brings in the Tri-Bolt. So definitely going to see if they can cover a little bit more area here. And also being able to just keep Masango grounded. And that is just exactly what they wanted. Up close and personal. Gets the stun on the Tri-Ball and immediately juggles in to the rush. Gives them a massive lead in this matchup. Riffa decides to don the red mask. Gets caught with the stun. And has to be incredibly careful here. Because finally Grimwood has tipped this completely the other way. Riffa may have Rush set and ready to go. But they're in critical. They're a hit away from going down. There is the Tri-Bolt poke. And it will be Grimwood who takes the lead of this set by 1-0. We've seen Grimwood do this time and time again. They have really become such a formidable coil as of late and still able to use one of their mains of Max Brass very comfortably. So everything to play for in this early stage. If Riffa can get knocked out into Underground Final, I mean, like I said, this is generally where we see these kind of things happen. But this is also Riffa we're talking about. If anybody can come back from these kind of scenarios, it likely will be Le Champion. But we'll see what Riffa could do as we head on over to Ninja College for the first time on stream today. It's going to be Masango coming back with that Cracker and the Cooler Rank. Meanwhile, Grimwood again, not really going to touch up anything. The Tri-Bolt's still going to be a very effective tool. And obviously, Coil can just stay in the air for such a long time that it very much negates a lot of the verticality that this stage has to offer. Riffa may think they've got the high ground, but Coil could just float on up and just match them from where they are at that level. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of like even footing fights going off in the early goings, but Riffa is doing their best to keep this under control and keep Grimwood having to fight from underneath. Walls in with the rush as well, and Grimwood already finds themselves in critical. One hit away. Riffa in total control on Ninja College, and Grimwood not liking this matchup at all. So now it is Coil who starts on the higher ground. They're going to come in with the Shack Ram alongside that Roaster. So clearly Tri-Bolt not working out for them. Goes for the rush, lands the rush. 295 damage as Riffa again with that Cracker and the Coolerang. Has to give themselves a little bit of a breather, but now it's Grimwood who turns the tide, and obviously even more height advantage when they've got the high ground. So Riffa just again now having to fight up. It always seems to be very one-sided when you come into these kind of situations, and which is why it's going to be very crucial to see how Grimwood does going into the next portion of this fight. Again, another Chakram hit. Definitely a lot more comfortable with this. The Tri-Bolt certainly didn't work for them with it, but the Chakram absolutely did, and that is a perfect. That's the first perfect of the stream today, and it has felt like a while since we've seen one, but that is how you do it. Now, can Grimwood break this perfect curse? Because as of late, when a perfect happens, it still goes the opposite way, so Grimwood is going to want to try and actually secure the point this time around, but this is Riffa we're talking about. They never like being perfected on at the best of times. But it's going to be Grimwood who comes in with the rush and lands it this time around. The Roaster keeps them in place this time, and Riffa takes all of that damage. Has to try and find a way to flag on back out, but again caught by the Ram. on the back foot as always, and Riffa down to half health, finally gets hit with the Cracker and now puts themselves in a position where they can ramp up the damage, but again, still being clipped. They've got to be very careful here as Grimwood once again takes the, well, I was going to say the high ground, but it's even higher ground for Coil, given their floaty capabilities, and Riffa on the cusp of critical. Grimwood not too far away with Rush set and ready to go. Now Riffa is probably going to try and chain up that yellow mask. In fact, you can see the yellow very much up there, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They need to be able to win out this exchange, but immediately they're going to lose it. The mask goes down, and Riffa immediately backs it up. Grimwood knows full well that is going to be Riffa's strategy, but decides to give them the time to actually get it. But it's okay, because they have to fight against such an oppressive onslaught, and the roaster finds its way through. And Grimwood is unstoppable. You are exactly right, Coil. Donna Burke, be proud. This is going to be a heck of a battle for Riffa to do here. They are 2-0 down, and we go back to Ninja College, and guess who has come home? It's Ninjara. Kyle will start at the bottom again. Chakram and Roaster. Triblast and Ice Dragon for Riffa. In the meantime, let's see if the Ninja Boy can do a lot better here than Misango does. Tries to go for the grab off the chain, but not going to get it this time around. Grimwood waited till the last second to deny them, and now immediately goes straight on the onslaught, and both of them just being able to just avoid, for the time being, a lot of aggression on both sides of the field, both with Rush set and ready to go. And obviously Grimwood again freely goes for the rush this time around, not having to fear about the yellow mask. Doesn't get as much damage as they'd like, but again, it is still damage, so they will at least take it. But they were definitely hoping for a little bit more, considering the fact that Riffa will now go in for the one of their own, but caught with the Chakram. And Grimwood is definitely looking to try and book their ticket into Grand Finals on pure merit here. Tried to go for the wake-up grab, not going to get it. Grimwood immediately shuts down the dragon, and that's exactly what you see Grimwood's style is. Even though the Tri-Blast can still be very damaging towards Coil, as long as they keep the dragon shut down, Riffa doesn't really have as much as they'd like to, which is why they're very much heavily reliant on the horizontal bolts of explosive goodness. But another grab from Grimwood is going to put themselves on very much level health here. Riffa not too far away from a rush. Gets Grimwood into critical. Puts themselves in position. Goes for the rush. Not going to get it on this occasion. Gets at least 135. So it does ping Riffa into critical. But with 10 seconds left on the clock, who has health lead here? I think it is Riffa. The dragon's going to come out. Can we get a punish? Not quite this time round. 3 seconds on the clock. Riffa might just about win this. And does. Goodness me, how close do you want to have it there? Riffa gets that by millimeters, if that. Roaster, Tribal, now and a grab from Riffa. I don't think Grimwood expected that in the opening stages there. And again, sticking with that Tri-Blast and the Ice Dragon, Grimwood knowing full well they've got to find a way of being able to shut that down as the 1-2 combination poke comes through for Riffa yet again. Rush is set and ready to go, but again the bolt just keeps Grimwood at bay. And Riffa just using that mobility that Ninjara has to just really pop themselves out of harm's way. But finally, the Tri-Blast does not get any purchase this time around. It is going to be a successful rush for Grimwood, but again, Riffa's done so much damage in the early stages that they know full well a rush that will land will definitely turn it in their favor. But again, another bolt is going to slow them down just a little bit, and Riffa's just waiting for a good moment, but that was absolutely not it, Chief, as the Tri-Bolt gets the stun against Riffa. Very much against the runner play there, as you thought Riffa was definitely lining up for it, and the rush lands as well. Coil lands the rush and pops Riffa into critical position, and this very much has taken us back the way. And now it's up to Riffa to have to come on the offensive. Another ping from that glove. 25 seconds on the clock. Grimwood on the cusp of critical. Riffa pretty much a punch away from going down. And Riffa does have rush set and ready to go. They can use that if they want. And actually does go for it. And actually catches Coil on the back foot. The arm was weak. The arm was weak. Grimwood knew they had to try and get the heck out of there. But it just could not happen. And Riffa gets a point back on the board. But crucially now, it's Grimwood's stage picks. And with Fire and Spyron very much banned and out the water, you just know Mausoleum is going to be the pick, and that is exactly what it is. So, Mausoleum for Grimwood. Gonna stick with the Ram and the Roaster. Meanwhile, Riffa sticking with the Ice Dragon and the Tri-Blast and scores first. Crucially, the reigning champion is gonna get the initiative in this matchup. Can't quite roll out anything else as the Dragon finds its way through, and the Bolt again so consistent in the early stages. And this is what I mean about that perfect curse from earlier. Anybody who seems to get a perfect seems to always end up losing in the end, and Riffa is determined to make that a reality once more. But now finally being walled out against every single Ram and Roaster hit that Grimwood has on offer. Yes, the damage has been done, but if Grimwood could get another chain of events like that, it could still very much turn the opposite way. Both with Rush ready to go as well, and manages to cancel the Dragon out, but it's that Tri-Blast that is really doing so much damage against Grimwood at the moment. They're just not able to find a way of keeping it at bay. Another Bolt manages to fling on through, and Riffa's going to try their best to hold on to this Rush for the next point if they can. And that's why Grimwood is just seeing them, just trying to force it out of them. Another hit back to back with the uncharged Roaster. Riffa is past the halfway mark and actually now going to go for the rush. Now this is going to put pressure on Riffa. Into critical they go, and now it's going to be up to Riffa to determine whether or not they use it. They don't use it. The health lead completely got away from them, and Grimwood absolutely turned that on its head. Set point. Set point for Grimwood. Riffa has Rush to go and immediately uses it. Dragon Laser does a lot of damage. Explosion is always a good hit to end on. 370 damage. Puts Riffa in the driver's seat in the early going, but they've got to keep this momentum up. Otherwise, it could still yet go the other way. The stun came up on the Ram, but Coil was already committed and on the wrong side to properly take advantage of that. And just like that, Grimwood at the halfway mark, 70 seconds on the clock. He had to score with the Roaster, but again falls victim to another Tri-Blast hit. Gotta be so careful playing this aggressive game. If they want to play this aggressive against Riffa, they have to have the consistency to hit these close-up shots, because the Dragon is still chaining them out. Grimwood back into critical again as Riffa comfortably has Rush. They'll likely hold this on because the Dragon will KO, landing on the middle platform. The trampoline might come out in the next fight if they're not careful. It's still set point for Grimwood, but crucially, Riffa could send us to match 5 if they are able to win this. Roaster and Tri-Bolt ready to go once more as the Dragon and Blast begin to rain on down. Who will take the initiative in this crucial final point here? It is going to be Riffa who lands the first blow, but neither of them want to bat with the Rush just yet. Roaster finally hits and floors Riffa down, and Grimwood's actually given Riffa a lot of range here, a lot of breathing room to be able to try and get into position with the Dragon. Finally gets themselves a stun and actually gets a bit more damage on the board, but they've got to be so careful as they dive straight into another pair of bolts, which the Dragon is absolutely going to gobble on up. And it's almost like neither of these two want to use the Rush in the early stages. Another 1-2 hit is going to put Grimwood onto the halfway mark, and again, because the Dragon is being launched at range, Grimwood's giving Riffa way too much space to use this Dragon with. The grab is going to miss, and Riffa has complete control. Rush is going to come out, and that's a KO! It is 2-2 in winners final. And this is why no matter how much of a lead you have on Riffa, you never start getting overconfident. You never start immediately thinking about the next set, because Riffa always does this. He always goes down to a point where you think he's at his weakest and still comes back even stronger. Match number 5 between these two as Grimwood switches from Coil to Brass, Popper and the Ram respectively to try and send the reigning champion down into the Underground Final. They're both guaranteed to finish in top 3 no matter what happens, but crucially, it's who will be in the Grand Finals that we are deciding right here, right now, as the Triblast again tries to reign supreme. Grimwood trying their best to bulk on up, but just can't get the time to do so because Riffa is always at a decent range to get the Dragon up and get the bolts in as quickly as possible. And Grimwood just consistently fighting on the back foot against this combination that just doesn't seem that there's anything they can do. But Riffa, again, they've been training against Coil for such a long time now that no matter what character you bring at Riffa, they've always got an answer for it. Grimwood past the halfway mark. Riffa finally caught by the Popper. And finally, Grimwood has a chance to bulk on up. But again, Riffa's consistency, if it shows you anything, the 1-2 chain will rob it immediately. Into that permacharge state goes Grimwood. Into critical they go. They are going to just go say it and say screw it. Pings in with the rush. 310 damage pops Riffa on the cusp of critical, but they cannot afford to take any further damage from this, and that is a very dangerous game to play, and every single time it's always the Triblast. No matter what character you are, it is always the Triblast that comes out to ruin your day. Set point now for Riffa, having been 2-0 down. Does get caught with the Roaster as the Ram again comes out for Grimwood. They all bulk on up, but again this 1-2 chain from Riffa leads us in to another rush confirmed. 350 damage, and Grimwood again gonna bulk on up, score with the stun, score with the Roaster. It's a good 1-2 chain, and again because they are a heavyweight character, it'll take a lot more than that to knock down Max Brass, that unflinching stature, that ability that they have, and the rush comes in as well. 285 sends Riffa into critical. They need one more hit. They get one more hit. And this set goes the distance for reals. It all comes down to one more point. And the Ice Dragon immediately scores on Grimwood. Not the way Brass would like to start this matchup as Ninjara begins their usual dance. They are the closest to a rush, set and ready to go. Pretty much another explosion. Not going to go their way this time. But again, these AoE tags are still catching Grimwood off guard. But the Roaster is just so much damage. It's unguided, yes. But that is what it exchanges for. Just sheer amount of devastating power. And that is why Riffa is just trying to find a way and roll out Max Brass as best as they can. Chakram not going to hit on this occasion. And again, the Dragon just pinging Grimwood, slowing them down, making them think about the choice here as the Ninjara is going to just start floating away. Their teleport sends them to the other side. No damage from that rush at all. So now it's going to be how Riffa decides to respond from this. They have the rush in the back. But as Grimwood now ticks into the halfway mark, you feel like Riffa wants to try and hold off using it until they can get Grimwood into KO range. But Grimwood won't be too far away from having the rush set and ready to go of their own. 30 seconds left on the clock. Roaster just about missing both now with rush set and ready to go. And the more this goes on, the more this will definitely favor Grimwood. Finally catches up, gets 80 damage. That could be very important as time ticks on by. 13 seconds on the clock. Riffa is in critical. Grimwood not even close to it. So Riffa has got to get a damn good chain here. Otherwise Grimwood has this in the bag. Arm weak. That's going to be a lot of pressure. That's going to be damage, but it will not be enough. Grimwood finally holds on and sends the reigning champion down into the Underground Final. It's Grimwood and Brass who finally take it through to Grand Finals. And Riffa will have to fight yet another match if they want to get themselves back up there. Grimwood finally wins. And so, with that done, we have two people in the top 3. We have Grimwood, who will finish no lower than 2nd place today. We have Riffa, who will finish no lower than 3rd But you know the reigning champion is not out of this yet. They want that 20th win. They want to continue stomping their dominance over this entire community. But can Grimwood win it from the grand finals? And can somebody cause an upset of their own in that underground final? We will find out soon enough. In the meantime, we're going to have a look to see what is going on elsewhere. Alistair did beat out Sheddy by 2 points to 1. So Sheddy in another good old classic by the sound of it. But it is going to be the newer, fresher player of Alistair who will take the victory on this occasion. They will go up against Iceman in the underground round 3. Okrim lost to Aloria by 2 points to 1. So Aloria getting themselves an upset of their own as well. So Okrim upset Replicant, only for Aloria to take out Okrim down there as well. So Aloria very much doing incredibly well. Unfortunately, they did fall then to Junior by 2 points to 0. So we know the underground semi-final will have this. Junior will be there, the number 2 seed for today. They will face the winner of Iceman and Alistair. I do believe that match is indeed underway. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a very quick break. When we return, top 4 will be on demand. Underground semi-final, underground final, and then crucially, the grand final itself. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, my friends, we're back. I forgot to add the web captioner onto the BRB screen. We don't often use the BRB screen since we don't normally have a moment to have a quick little pause like that. But to be fair, it's good that we've done so because it means that I had a chance to take a quick little bit of a drink before we go into our next matchup. And boy, what a next matchup we have. So, Iceman is out. You heard me right. Alistair beat Iceman by 2 points to 1, which means that Iceman, our 13-time winner, will not be making it into top 4. So the top 4, we have seeded number 1 Arena Champion Riffer in Underground Final, where they will take on the winner of this match. Seeded number 3, Grimwood, is in the Grand Final, and the Underground Semi will be contested by Alistair and Junior. Junior, who was seeded number 2, who is looking to try and win their 3rd ever cup. Alistair, meanwhile, They're trying to win their first. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. This will be the last best of 3 of the day. Anything can happen at this stage. The winner of this will take on Riffer in Underground Final. And what a set we have in store for you here and now. Alistair is determined to finally find a breakthrough in this competition. They've came third twice. They've came second twice. But that win has evaded them time and time again. Could today be the day? Well, they're going to have to do one heck of a journey to do so. They'll have to beat Junior, they'll have to beat Riffer, and they'd have to beat Grimwood if they even get that far. But again, anything can still happen at this stage. So let's get ourselves ready then, shall we? Junior on the left-hand side of your screen, coming in as Twintel. Alistair on the right as our good old Dr. Coil. Triple toaster for Alistair. Meanwhile, Junior's going to bring in a roaster of their own, so the unguided fiery variant, and also that nade, so very much all unguided business for Junior as we head into Buster for the early goings. Neither player really able to get any kind of purchase, but Alistair, with all of the pressure already, breaks the arm on the right hand side and gets the rush as well. And well, this is going to be very much Alistair's playstyle, I would guess, just hammering on in with the toasters, even if they don't get any purchase, because they'll get the rush incredibly quick. Junior finally has one up off their own, but look at the onslaught from Alistair. It's just glove after glove after glove. Finally, Junior finds a way through with the nade, but again, look at the damage already done. Alistair is just, well, literally on fire. Considering the fact they've got the toasty gloves. Actress Aura slows it down, but unfortunately Junior is still going to take that in the face. Another arm weak and down, and that's a KO. And here we go again. Alistair just deciding to just not have any say in this matter, and Junior is not doing so well with Twintel at this stage. We normally see them as Cobra. Twintel is a rare occurrence of that, there is no doubt, but it is just not working for them here. And now another successful toaster here as the Hydra rains on in, and a grab is going to connect at last to slow Alistair down. But again, Alistair really doesn't mind. They'll just throw gloves just non-stop really until they get themselves into a position to go for another rush, which, to be fair, the amount of pressure that they put Junior under so far is just nigh on incredible. Another rush confirmed. 240. Arm weak on the left hand side is just about fading away, but the amount of raw energy from these punches, Junior is a hit away from going down. Grab will not connect. The rush at the very least does. 350 damage pops Alistair on the cusp of critical, but they're just needing one more punch. They find the punch, and Alistair, just like that, is 1-0 up.
Back to the lab.
So Alistair is 1-0 up in the Underground semi-final against Twintel, and you here we go, everyone. Here we go again. It's VAR check. Oh no. Oh, you have got to be joking. We have... I guess this is just what happens. And it would not be a tournament with Alistair in it if there wasn't a clip to be taken. I mean, I guess this is the first time it's happened today, because they've gone... Why is it always when they appear in the top 4 that a clip has to go? Well, we are gonna have a clip review. It will be submitted into our Discord. Our mods and tournament organizers will have a look at it, and if they do indeed deem that there is some lag at play, the point will be reset, and we will see how this plays out. Now, the thing is here, is that if it does need to be replayed, everybody has to stick with their respective characters and the free arms that they bring to the table. Now, this does mean that Junior, unfortunately, will have to stick with the Twin Tail. But it is a replayed set, and if another lag dispute does come up in the same match, the point does go to Junior by default. So we will see how this all plays out. We are just waiting from word on high before we get round to going in with the next matchup. But still, you see Alistair in that matchup regardless, and it was just so many punches just rolling on out. Like I said, because Coil has that wonderful ability to charge up a third arm, and if you bring two toasters to the fight, it's going to be triple toaster from start to finish, pretty much, as long as the charge can be deployed. And because every punch that gets thrown out, it contributes to part of your rush meter, Coil is charging up the rush incredibly quickly, which is why Alistair doesn't really waste much time throwing that rush out, because they've got so much pressure. If an arm breaks, they've got a rush for free at that point. And even then, it's just like, if they know they've got a character in a specific position where they know they can't do that right there and then, they'll just take that point straight away from them in the blink of an eye. So it looks like we are going to have a reset lobby. We're waiting to see what the answer is going to be. In terms of a reset point, we're just waiting to hear what the word from our organizers are going to be before we decide to pull on forward with this. So once we have an idea of what's coming up, we will forward that to you. Like I said, the winner of this matchup will take on reigning champion Riffer in the Underground Final. It's Grimwood who will be awaiting the winner of that in the Grand Finals themselves. Grimwood looking to win their 8th cup. Riffer looking to win their 20th, the first person to enter into the 20s for cup wins. Junior looking to win their 3rd, and Alistair, like we said, looking to win their 1st ever cup. We're just receiving word from on high right now, and it will be, just double checking, we're just waiting to hear what the confirmation is going to be from our moderators, from our wonderful admins behind the scene. And again, just waiting on that response. I thought they were about to do so, but they were just double checking the question, and the answer is going to be, pause for dramatic effect, we're right. We really are, Grimwood. We very much are. They're taking quite a while to actually figure out whether they're resetting this or not. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it isn't. It'd be like that. It looks like we will, yeah, it looks like it is indeed going to be a reset point. So we are going to go back to 0-0. It will be going back to Buster Beach. It will be Twintel versus Dr. Coil again. Well, back we go. So that first point did not count. We are going straight back in. To another matchup. And it will be Junior versus Alistair in the Underground semi-final. Alistair winning that first point, but unfortunately the lag VAR check does go against them, so it is going to mean that we will reset this point. It will be back to 0-0 between these two. Obviously they have to lock into the same characters and the same free arms that they brought to the table. And that's exactly what will happen. Twintail versus Coil, take 2. As is always the case, Junior on the left-hand side of your screen, Roaster and the Hydra, Alistair on the right with the Toasters as well. And we are going to see if there is going to be any more disputes this time around, or if it's going to be clean sailing from here on out. Alistair tagged once again by the Hydra and the Roaster that Twintail brings to the table, and actually scores with the Hydra a bit more consistently this time around. So Alistair having a lot more work to do in the early stages, finally lands a hit with that Toaster. The actors all going to slow things down, and to be fair, showed them that everything was going to miss them. Roast will finally come against the rush of Alistair, who takes that cleanly away from Junior, pops them down into the halfway mark. And again, that Hydra still very formidable to go up against if you are Coil. It definitely keeps you out of the air, but so far Alistair on point with the Toasters as it stands. Again, another block with the Hydra as the Toaster finally rings on through. Junior on the cusp of critical, make that into critical as Alistair just continues to fling out the triple Toaster. Junior just doesn't seem to have a proper answer for this. The Hydra is doing the work at the very least, keeping Alistair grounded for the most part, but Junior again, just pause it for just a moment there, arm weak, and that is a lot of lag there. Looks like the punches did not quite officially go through, and that is a disconnect, I think. Or was that a KO? That might have just been a normal kick, but it looked like they KO'd in the air, so we might have some more lag on the side here, which I think is what both of these fighters seem to be thinking. So we might be having another check here. And yep, Junior is stationary here at this stage, so it looks like we are going to be going into another VAR check. It is. We'll be cutting to a break real quick. When we come back, we will hopefully have the next part of the installment of the Challenge Cup. We will be right back. My friends, welcome back to the 67th installment of the EU Arms Challenge Cup. I am still your girl, TK Layla, and we are coming to you live with the top 3 of this competition after a long and fun competition to get this far. It's going to be incredible to see what will happen at this stage of the game. Grimwood, a 7-time winner, is waiting in the grand finals. But who will they meet there? Will they meet Junior, our 2-time winner, looking to get a 3rd win under the belt? Or will it be the reigning champion Riffa. On the right hand side of the screen is going to be Kid Cobra versus Ninjara. It's going to be best of 5 from here on out. And Riffa's had to wait a fair amount of time for this opportunity, but you know they definitely want to try and book their ticket into further history territory by getting that 20th win. But so far, that Guardian is going to be something they'll have to try and find their way around. They've done so time and time again before, and the Tri-Blast, as is usually the case, just coming on through, pinging onto Junior on the side every time, and the Burchuk in there as well, but gets the shield up on the Guardian, not so much on the grab though, and it does mean that Riffa at least maintains the lead somewhat. But again, that chain with the Burchuk, both of them using an ice variant. It's going to be another big time grab for Junior that puts Riffa down for the time being. Riffa gets a grab back. Anything you can do, I can do just as well. But that Guardian is starting to eat up a lot of health, and Riffa into critical. Make that a KO. Nice and tasty. And Junior going to take the initiative in this opening point. So as we prepare ourselves for match number 2, or point number 2 even, again, sticking with that Tri-Blast and the Ice Dragon, it's not quite working out for them at the moment, and unfortunately backflipping right into that rush, nothing that Riffa was going to be able to do about that exchange. Manages to at least get another bolt through past the Guardian. That Burchuk not able to get properly loaded up either, so Riffa at least bringing that health deficit back somewhat into their favor. Now they do have rush advantage as well, but they've got to bide their time. They've got to find a way successfully around that Guardian, and so far they're doing exactly that. Some of these bolts just finding a way through when Junior least expects it. Again, Burchuk again wailing on in, but the Guardian is gonna give you a big fat old nope dot Avi. And having to really do this the hard way around. To be fair, Riffa has chained up a lot of damage without the use of that rush, so they'll likely just continue to do the same, but Junior wants to shut this down ASAP. Another Burchuk is going to find his way through. Can't quite get the grab. Riffa being a bit of an interesting enigma, but finally lets their guard down. Rush will come out and grab the KO, and Junior is going to lead ahead of Riffa. The reigning champion down by 1-0 in the early goings. Remember that they were 2-0 down in winners final against Grimwood before at least managing to turn that back into a match 5 potential reverse sweep before Grimwood finally found a way of being able to stop them dead in their tracks. So we'll see if the switch to Masango will give them a little bit extra purchase on this entire matchup. We will soon find out as we head on into DNA Labs for match number 2 of a very important underground final matchup. Scoring with the Burchuk of their own, and obviously that Cracker on the side. A lightweight arm can be punched through by anything, but does its own fair share of damage, especially as a fire element will always floor Cobra every time it hits, and so far it is working beautifully for them so far. As Junior already down past the halfway mark, meanwhile Riffa very much still at max health thereabouts. And so far Junior really can't get into this matchup as they did in the previous one. The Burchuk nade combination not working for them here at the moment. Riffa with a much better tactic, also with that red mask up as well, which means they're doing so much more damage. Finally does get frozen and loses the mask, and now Junior starts to wail in some chains of their own. But again, look at the damage already done, and Riffa in massive amounts of control here wrestles that point back against Junior, and just like that, it's going to be a bit of a switch up for Junior. Back to the Guardian to see what they could do with that and the Burchuk. And so far, Riffa has an answer for it just with their utility alone. And again, denying the grab as well, chaining up on the ice, putting Junior under so much pressure. And now the rush as well. And Riffa's very much on cue for a perfect. It would be the second perfect of the stream. One for Grimwood and one for Riffa. If it does land, and it does. No, it's not a perfect. It's a pixel perfect. There must have been chip damage involved somewhere along the lines, but Riffa grabs one back immediately. So just like that, Riffa immediately claps back and gets a point straight away from Junior. Does not behind for long at all. But then again, this is the 19-time winner. This is the reigning champion. They are determined to go one step beyond again and just continue to etch themselves into the history books. Remember that Junior did win out in the grand finals in the 65th Cup. The last cup did go Riffa's way, having to beat Grimwood in the grand final. So they'll want to see if they could do it 2 times in a row. But Junior is going to take us back to Buster Beach, where they are seriously so much more confident. And look at that confidence. They're just immediately walling Riffa out. So as long as Junior can convert this into a win every single time, you feel like Junior will just keep taking Riffa back to Buster Beach and just continue to pin them against the corners of this very small boxed in stage. Although having said that, Riffa finally has a bit of calm with the blue mask up, that speed up on Misanko, and slowly but surely they're bringing this fight back onto their side of the field. And suddenly Junior is the one who's in a fair amount of trouble past the halfway mark, not too far away from critical. Meanwhile, Riffa, definitely with the health lead, finally gets tagged by the fan, but it's another grab that's gonna wrestle it away from Junior once again. And now Riffa with the yellow mask up basically means that they will win out this exchange, having to discard it for the time being. Though they'll want to try and get it back up ASAP, get the turtle up, but can't quite get the mask up either. Junior is just hammering on home. Now the mask is on, and now Riffa can breathe a sigh of relief. Or can they? Another big time grab for Junior. They know they were here away. 2 grabs back to back, exactly what Junior needed, and goes for the rush as well and gets it. Pinned against the hot pocket, not where you want to be. 2 grabs and a rush will take that right away from Riffa. Yes, they do start with the rush advantage and also the first point of damage thanks to that Coolerang. But crucially, Junior absolutely left it right till the bitter end there to turn that back into their side. Rush will now come out. Guardian had already gone for the extension. Riffa was always going to land that pretty much onto the halfway mark for Junior, who's now slowly but surely charging that back up. Another successful Coolerang hit into a grab. Pops Junior right back down and into critical. They go. Riffa now with the yellow mask wants to charge that rush up as soon as physically possible. Just about denying another grab attempt from Junior. 1 more punch is all they're looking for, and they find it. And down goes the Cobra. So what will now be the call here? Well, the Coolerang once again gets themselves a wonderful little ice pick onto Junior. But Junior, again, not going to be waiting around anytime soon. Goes straight in for another grab. Riffa has no answer for it on that occasion and don't want to be there. But unfortunately, Riffa does get the punish and also cancels the grab out as well. Red mask up to add insult to injury. And Junior having to back all the way on out. Could not keep Riffa in the hot pocket this time round. Wasted rush and all. The grab at least wrestled the mask away from them for the time being. But Riffa with the rush advantage. 2 grabs back to back then for Junior. They did this before. They're going to try and do it again if they can, to try and keep the champion out of the grand finals. But again, punching through not 1 but 2 grab opportunities, pitting them against the corner of their own with the yellow mask up as well, which means they will have the rush advantage. But it is going to get wrestled away. The second that Ram hits, the fire element causes Misango to immediately hit the deck. Who is going to win this second point? It could go the way of Junior with Riffa into critical. It is going to be rush. It is going to hit, and it is going to be 2-1 for Junior. Riffa is getting incredibly close to stealing that point away from them on Buster, but Junior does keep that aggressive play alive and well. 2-1 is the lead for Junior. And could we yet see Riffa falling into 3rd place? The last time that happened, it was thanks to Junior. So you know full well they'll want to do it again. Anything to stop the Riffa revolution rolling on through into even more wins. And it is going to go back to DNA Labs. So they very much are picking stages that they are absolutely comfortable in. Junior keeps taking Riffa back to Buster Beach. Riffa is going to keep taking Junior back to DNA Labs. It's going to be a hard fight for Junior to win, but they've got to find a way around Riffer's playstyle in this setup. The Coolerang and the Cracker is just too much in this area. And so far, Junior is just not going to be able to pin Riffer down as long, especially with these tubes being up as well. Both going to shield on out, but again, so far it's Riffer who has got much better purchase on this stage up with the Med Mask as well. They are always so confident when they come to DNA Lab. There just seems to be nothing that Junior can do in this setup. There's so much space to be able to move around with. There's so much for Riffer to take advantage of, but Junior already on the cusp of critical. And Riffer just not even breaking a sweat here at DNA Labs. Another Cracker hit off to the side. Finally gets a grab, so no perfect for Riffer again. We are going to finally lose some tubes. 2 of them go down, but again, the Red Mask is up. Riffer knows they only need one more hit. Junior is not going to surely risk doing a rush at this stage. Surely he would just take it onto match number 2 since Riffer is just in complete control here and the Cracker finally does end. And Riffer just a point away from taking us to match 5 once again. So what will the call now be for Junior? That Ram and that Guardian just not quite working so far. They will at least get the shield up so Riffer doesn't get the rush. Junior trying to slide on in towards the tail end of it, but unfortunately got the timing just a little bit wrong. And as a result, Riffer going to score a bit more damage than he would have probably liked to. Now, here is where Junior needs to be so careful. Try to keep Riffer away from these tubes and pin them into the corner, but so far they just can't seem to do it. Riffer now with the blue mask as well. Definitely going to be a much harder target to hit. Finally comes in with the rush. Finally disarms it. And 365. Exactly what Junior needed. And now, can they keep Riffer in this corner? Crucially, the Guardian is going to get its second hit in thanks to the Ram. And just like that, Junior has actually found a way of halving the deficit here. They're back on level terms, with 50 seconds still left to go in this matchup. So Junior's done incredibly well and now trying to pin Riffer down, but they are going to inch away and just about get away with that, but actually get caught with the Guardian. Now, Riffer does have rush set and ready to go, so you'll likely see that yellow mask probably coming up for protection, and there it is as the rank does come around. Junior has to find a way of disarming this, otherwise they cannot go in for the kill. Riffer just needs one more hit from anything at this stage and this match will be done and dusted. 20 seconds on the clock, make that 15 now. The Ram is just around the tube and nothing they can do about it. Ram is just going to get cancelled out. 10 seconds left on the clock. Junior is going to need a miracle and it's just not going to happen. Riffer gets themselves another point on the board. And for the second time today, it's 2-2. Riffer taking yet another match to the distance. Junior needs to find a way through. They need to find a way to be able to break down Riffer. So far, it's going to be pretty much back and forth between these two. Every time we've gone to Buster, Junior wins. Every time we go to DNA Labs, Riffer wins. The crucial then thing for Junior is that they did win the first point, which was on Buster Beach. So can Junior knock the reigning champion out of this tournament right here and now? We are about to find out. Junior unfortunately is going to take the first point of damage in this matchup. Goes for the grab, but Riffer has an answer for it. The Cracker immediately denies them, but to be fair, the Ram immediately comes back as well and then chains them out in mid-air. It's a really good starting combination for Junior as well, but Riffer not going to allow them to get carried away. They know full well they need to keep this as quick and frantic as possible and not allow Junior to run away with it. Both the Rang and the Cracker does not find its mark, and now the blue mask comes up, but unfortunately shocked into a grab combination. The second they went for the damage impact, nothing came of it, and the Ram punish as well for Junior. Exactly what they needed, and now they force Riffer into the hot pocket. Nothing that they can do. Is that a KO? It's not a KO. One more hit is all that Junior was looking for. Couldn't quite find it on the Ram. It just about poked the other way through, and the Ram again being denied at the last possible second. The mask is going to come out. Riffer needs to do something here. Finally gets a Cracker hit. but Riffa, knowing full well that 1 point of damage will take it, has to be incredibly careful. They're stuck in the hot pocket. Junior is just not allowing them to get out of there in any sense of the word, and finally finds the point. Set point for Junior. Can they knock the champ out of this tournament? They win this, they've done it. But Riffa is not going to take that lightly in the slightest, and you know it. We all know it. Junior will have Rush first up and nails with the Ram. First time of asking, but Riffa straight back on the offensive. Gets themselves a grab against the run of play. And as Junior goes in for another grab, it is going to wall him out to the Rush. Nothing Riffa could do. 355 damage down into the halfway mark. They do have the Rush now. So obviously Junior will have to be very careful, but just about gets away with the grab. I thought Riffa might go for it, but the Ram just not going to bat an eyelid to it. 340 damage on the Rush finally for Riffa. Brings Junior's health down to the halfway mark. Maintains the lead though for the time being. And now it's all about damage limitations. Can they work their way around it? Gets the chain in with the ice. Gets the grab as well. Puts Junior into critical, who isn't going to be too far away from Rush of their own. But Riffa has this under control for the time being, providing they can keep Junior at bay, providing they can keep that Guardian away from doing any serious damage. The Rush is going to come out. I'm surprised to see that Rush pop there from Junior. That's an odd decision to make. They could not keep Riffa pinned, and that may come back to bite them in the butt. 15 seconds left on the clock. Tags it in the mid-air. Now Riffa does have Rush here and actually gets caught. Oh my goodness me. Junior couldn't get the grab, so it's not a KO. 6 seconds on the clock. Riffa has Rush. Junior has health lead. Here comes the Rush and gets the KO at the last possible moment. It goes all the way. Set point for both. Who will take the crown here to take Grimwood on in grand finals? Junior will get the first bite of the Rush. You would absolutely seem to think that. But again, the 1-2 combo with the Rang and the Cracker, and Riffa is just not wanting to relinquish this championship reign. Another grab sends Junior down, and suddenly Riffa has control in this matchup. Momentum is on their side. Junior is going to drop it down onto the cusp of critical, and Riffa has turned this matchup completely on its head. Junior has it all to do. Finally gets a grab. And finally, maybe slow down this Riffa onslaught. But again, they've got so much work to do. Another grab. Gonna send Riffa away from the hot pocket this time round, and it gives them a little bit more freedom. But 2 grabs in succession now for Junior. But they've got to be so careful. Riffa wants that yellow mask. You could tell they want that yellow mask. They're going to get the totem. They will get the mask. And now Junior has to disarm this before they can go for a Rush of their own. Can't get the grab. Riffa just a little bit too high. 40 seconds on the clock. Junior needs to be so careful. That Cracker is doing so much damage. One more hit will do it. And that is the Rush. And the champ has managed to pull it off. They win on Buster Beach. 3rd times is not the charm. And Riffa is through once again to grand finals. Well, it is that time once again. The grand final is upon us. It is not going to be Junior versus Grimwood. It is going to be Riffa versus Grimwood again for this competition. Can Riffa win a 20th tournament overall here in the EU Arms Challenge Cup, or can Grimwood win their 8th? We will soon find out. Remember, for Riffa to do this, they're going to have to win not 1 but 2 best of 5 sets against Grimwood, who has not conceded a set so far. For Grimwood, all they have to do is take out Riffa in 1 best of 5 set. We all know that is never going to be easy. So, despite the fact that Grimwood made it to Grand Finals first, the higher seed still does get the option to ban first, which does go the way of Riffa, who is the reigning champion. So, always a fun ruling when that comes around, but it is going to be Riffa versus Grimwood. Riffa on the left-hand side of your screen, Grimwood on the right. Ninja versus Max Brass to start ourselves off with, as we move into the grand final of the 67th installment of the EU Arms Challenge Cup. And we begin as Grimwood means to go on with a big old hug from Max Brass and immediately knocks Riffa straight down onto their butt. The Triblast and the Ice Dragon very much on fire. We saw how they've been used consistently throughout this entire tournament so far. And again, another big time grab from Grimwood, making sure that Riffa stays down for as long as physically possible. Again, make that 3 grabs now for Grimwood in this. Make that 4 grabs for Grimwood in this matchup. They are out an absolute tear here with the double chiller. Nothing Riffa could do about it. And boy, howdy, was that an uphill battle. Wow. An impressive display from Grimwood, who is holding nothing back at this stage. They've watched this tournament go on for quite some time now, and now the chillers begin to fly around once again. Riffa has got to find a way of slowing this down. Finally gets attacked with the Triblast, setting off that explosive device, but they've got a lot of work to do if they are able to try and find a way of slowing this down. Bearing in mind that they are coming in with 3 ice weapons. The only thing that isn't ice in this matchup is the Triblast that Riffa does have. And it's going to be Grimwood who pops first, but guess who gets the punish? Of course it's Riffa, who now starts to chain in with a 1-2 combo of their own. And again, the AoE explosion just nicking away at Grimwood on the back there. I've only just realized that web captioner, for whatever reason, is just not showing. There we go. And again, arm weak on the left-hand side of the screen as Riffa gets caught. But they'll be fair, they catch Grimwood back with a grab of their own. They do have Rush set and ready to be deployed, but they're going to try and hold this for as long as physically possible. Grimwood in that critical buffed up state, but it is going to be Riffa who will find a way through. No, not quite. Actually can't get the rush confirmed, so they're going to have to do this the hard way around, just looking for one more poke, and they get it. Triblast will hit, and 1 apiece. So what will now be the response from our good old Maximum Brass? Grimwood, it's going to be a Rooster and a Chiller to come up against Riffa in the early stages of our next matchup. The winner of this will take the set lead in the grand finals, but you always want to win that first point. It's never over until it's over, but you definitely want to start on a good strong foot like that. And as Riffa just bounces away once again with Ninjara, both with Rush set and ready to be deployed, it's going to be Grimwood who pops the Rush and immediately scores with 275. Couldn't quite get the finishing blow with the Roaster, which would have probably been what they'd have liked to. And again, having to flinch on through. Riffa comes in with the Rush, 360, turns this right back on its head, has been scoring so much more consistently with their punches in this match. And a string of combos from Riffa is going to mean that the reigning champion starts with the first point. It looks like it begins again. Riffa always seems to have this complete second win the second we come into grand finals, especially if Riffa comes from the underground bracket. They know they've got to put in the effort. They know they've got to put in the work to take it all the way to not just 1 but 2 back-to-back sets. And Brass again coming back in for Grimwood. And it's going to be the Ram now coming up as we switch on into Temple Grounds. The 4 pillars against the 6 from DNA Lab. And already the arm weak on the right-hand side for Grimwood as Riffer pops in once again for the Tri-Blast. Dragon gonna get cancelled out this time by the chill for Grimwood, who desperately needs to try and take proper control of this matchup. They started so well in the grand finals, but Riffer is just having none of it now. These two operating at their highest potential. Of that there is no doubt. Back towards the corner and using the pillars as additional leverage. Does manage to catch the freeze on Riffer. Can't really properly punish from that position. Again, using the pillars more as a shield than anything else. Both with Rush set and ready to be deployed. Another chill, but it's going to be Riffer who pops first. But Grimwood jumps immediately up, catches Riffer unawares, and pops the ninja into critical condition. Grimwood with a massive health lead at this stage. What can Grimwood do? Gets caught by the explosion once again. An arm weak on both sides of the field. That's going to give Riffer the incentive to keep going and keep pushing with this pressure. 30 seconds left on the clock, and Riffer's actually the one who's nearly got Rush back on their side of things with a 1-2 hit from the bolts and the laser. Pops Grimwood into critical, and Riffer does have Rush here and ready to go. Well, actually go for it and wins it! The bolts tagged Brass enough for the Dragon to swoop on in and deal the rest of the big time damage. And just like that, Riffer is a point up again. And Grimwood is starting to slowly lose their hold on this entire matchup, as finally they get a grab of their own to convert some damage and pops Riffer in mid-air as well. The rush is going to come in. Riffer initially got the better of it, but gets the punish grab as well. And quickly wrestles control back the way it is, but having said that, Grimwood is just scoring some very consistent hits so far. And Riffer keeping that central stage, keeping themselves moving, keeping Grimwood guessing. And so far just chipping away at that health little by little, but they've got a lot of work to still put in on the cusp of critical. Make that into critical, scored with the explosion of the bolts, but again, Grimwood is being a lot more accurate with their gloves this time around. But they are still inadvertently dashing in to some of these attacks, both with rush set and ready to go. Arm weak on the right hand side as well. Grimwood cannot afford to have a disarm at this stage of the game. They do not want to be 2-0 down against Riffer of all people. Into critical they go. The ice slows them down. Now they can come up with that permacharge buff. This is going to be a very, very cautious end to this matchup. Who is going to make the first mistake here? 15 seconds on the clock, both on similar health. The bolts will hit, so Riffer does take health lead with this. Riffer just dodges and waits. Does get caught on the tail end of it now with 6 seconds to go. Riffer does have to do the comeback, but it's not going to happen. The explosion from the Tri-Blast is going to set that off. And Grimwood lifts the scene another day, but they need to find a way to keep this momentum up. Switching to the double versus, so all unguided goodness for Grimwood, and Riffer straight up in Grimwood's face. Big time damage, 385, courtesy of the Dragon Laser as well. It does so much damage at that potential, and the arm weak as well on the right hand side. And Riffer finally gets slowed down by the Roaster Punch, but again, the damage done. Very much you can see it as plain as day. Grimwood will have Rush ready to go in just a moment. There it is, but they're already on the cusp of critical. Finally comes through, and Riffer punishes! Riffer punishes again! Gets the high ground and just pings on in with the bolts once again. Finally getting slowed down as Grimwood into the permanent state. And Riffer with Rush on the cusp of critical, and Grimwood is just launching roaster after roaster after roaster. Riffer biding their time, waiting it out. Has to be extra careful now because they didn't get any purchase with the rush whatsoever. And in fact, it gets turned completely on its head. Grimwood survives on 1 HP to take the point away. And both of our fighters have left. Not a VAR check, please, no. Please, not another check. Let me see what's going on the Discord. Let's just have a look-see. There's a request to restart internet, but I don't see an actual dispute, so I'm going to assume all is well. Let me just quickly hop on back to the lobby screen for the time being. It doesn't look like we're gonna reset that point, but Grimwood not 100% happy with how that connection was going, despite the fact that they did get the points in the end, so I'd like to say that that will be one apiece. It should stay like that, but it looks like both of our participants will be resetting their router real quick. So as it stands in grand finals, it is Riffa 1, Grimwood 1. This is a best of 5 from here on out, and remember, for Riffa to win this competition today, they will have to beat Grimwood in not just one best of 5, but 2, on the basis of Grimwood has not conceded a set yet. And that is why we love the double elimination rules. We're currently at 20 to 5 in the evening here in the good old UK. So we'll see how much longer both of these two want to continue playing this out with. We'll hopefully get the lobby up for you in just a moment. But do remember that if you do like what you see here and you want to take part yourself, it is every 2 weeks for the Challenge Cup. Challenge Cup number 68 will likely be running ahead of schedule 2 weeks from now. So it's always every fortnight, every Sunday fortnightly. There we go, that's what I was going for. So the next one should be on the 14th of March, if my memory serves me correctly. Do remember that we have our, not just our Twitter channel at European_arms. We don't just promote our own tournaments there, we promote other tournaments there as well. So if there is anything that you want to see in the competitive scene, we will likely share it around on that account as well. So always keep an eye on there if you can. And also there is the Discord in the description below if you would like to join in, have a nice little friendly chit chat, and also learn even more of what the ARMS community has on offer. Just waiting on both of our players to ping back on up. Once they do, we will have this set ready for you once more. It is grand finals. For those of you who have just joined us, the underground final went Riffa's way, keeping Junior at bay until they were finally able to best them at their own game on Buster Beach. It's a very intense matchup. We've had 2 best of 5s go the distance already today. Winner's final was between Grimwood and Riffa, with Grimwood able to win that by 3 points to 2, and then, like I said, Riffa beating Junior in underground final by 3 points to 2. Looks like we have both of our fighters back and ready to go, so we'll hopefully have that up in just a moment. Wherever they are. Who are they? Definitely said he was live. There he is. Yeah, I'll be joining the lobby in just a moment. And they will still be on the same side, which is always nice. Riffa joining in first, which means, well, I mean, they set up the lobby, so it will be Riffa on the left, Grimwood on the right. as we head on back to Temple Grounds. It is one apiece in the grand finals. Ninjara versus Brass. Triblast and Ice Dragon versus Double Roaster. As it pings on through the double pillars. Grimwood immediately trying to just slow Riffa down and try to take apart our wonderful ninja boy. Arm weak on the left hand side for Grimwood as the pillars start to rain on down, and Riffa definitely keeping that central platform a lot more in control than previous matchups so far. Finally gets tagged by the Roaster at the very least, but just keeping Grimwood grounded and in that corner as well. Another explosion from the blast means that Grimwood will come into the critical perma buffed up state. But again, as long as Riffa can find these bolts hit, and obviously it does cover such a wide range as it is, there's a very high chance that they will still get a KO from this. Pings in with the Ice Dragon, forces Grimwood to have to wrestle on out, and the explosion once again is gonna shut Grimwood down. And so here we go again. Grimwood has it all to do as they bring in the Chakram and immediately flings on in with the rush. Scores big with the 355, gets the finishing touch that they wanted with the Roaster, but Riffa immediately straight back at them. Big time laser damage, 400. Immediately pops the Leah health level back down into a decent matchup for Riffa at the very least. And now let us see if they can keep the central area, keep Grimwood down, which they do indeed find a way through. Another 1-2 hit, just chaining on up, and Riffa now has health lead again. Another big time explosion with the Triblast as Grimwood builds back on up. They're on the cusp of critical, and Riffa isn't too far away from a rush of their own, and I feel like at that kind of potential you might see one slip on out, especially if Riffa can get the chance, but the Grimwood is not gonna go down easy. Another chain into a rush. Riffa pretty much in one more poke, but Grimwood's still in a bit of a dangerous position. They know they can't commit too heavily, but the Roaster is gonna catch Riffa by the ankles. And Grimwood puts themselves back in contention for this point. Riffa does start with rush advantage, but again, caught on the back foot by that Chakram. Finally comes in, but misses the rush this time round. It's chip damage and nothing more than that, as the 1-2 hit finally does come through after the rush is done. So Riffa will have to try and chain this up the hard way. Again, that Roaster is unguided, but the second it lands in its charged up state, it deals so much damage. Grimwood bounces off the tri-bolts, finally finds a way through with the rush, and again catches Riffa as they try to go for the dodge, chains them into the corner, and just like that, Grimwood has health lead. One more punch is all they're looking for. They score with the ram, and Grimwood is so close. Can Grimwood do this? Same bands, same stage. Back to Temple Grounds we go. Grimwood is this close. Can she do it? Can they do it? I don't know where the she came from then. None of these characters are female. Where in the world was I going with that? In either case, Riffa versus Grimwood. Ninjara versus Brass. You can tell it's been a long day already. It's just been one of those weekends as Riffa prepares themselves. Arm weak on the left hand side for Grimwood as Riffa maintains full health for the time being. And we are immediately going to see a ram shoot straight on through the bolt. Not going to get any kind of positioning this time around as Brass is forced into the corner. Gets hit with the Ice Dragon, but at least manages to score with the Roaster. Gives themselves a bit of a time to breathe. Allow the ice to cool on off, no pun intended. And that is now going to be Riffa being put under a fair bit of pressure here. The 1-2 coming on up once more. That Roaster always so hard to dance with. The arm does go down, but Riffa got hit on the back foot with that Roaster, so they couldn't really take full advantage of it. 110 damage does manage to slide on through. So even health for the time being, but crucially it's Riffa who has the rush advantage here. And Grimwood on the cusp of critical knows full well they have to be so careful. Riffa teleporting back the way. I think Grimwood was expecting them to come right at them. They finally do land. 300 damage. 1 HP for Grimwood once again. They're just dancing with death. And 21 seconds left on the clock. Riffa is where... is where Riffa will get a point back. So Grimwood almost with the rush up and ready to go as match number 4 is just cruising on in. And so far it's Riffa again with the first points of damage on weak on the left hand side, which is not what Grimwood wants to really be seen flash up on their screen. Does at least manage to get the hit with the Russer, tries to go for the grab, doesn't quite get it. Riffa being slowly backed in towards this corner, tries to slide on out there. Another solid roaster hit, tries to go for the grab, unflinches through it though, and that is going to be 325 damage. Riffa on the cusp of critical, does have rush at the very least, but Grimwood is determined to book themselves a championship point. Riffa also determined to force a reset out of all of this. Knows full well a rush could very much easily do it. Now it most absolutely can do it, but a roaster is going to deal a bit more damage, and Riffa knows they have to bide their time here. Gets the chain with the ice and gets the grab, which will take this point. And we're going to match 5 for the 3rd time today. Riffa is determined. Buster Beach will be the pick. Will Grimwood win their will Grimwood win their 8th ever cup, or will Riffa force us into another best of 5? Let's find out. Grass comes in with the popper and the chakram. Riffa comes in with the ice dragon and the tri-blast and immediately eats that popper. Gets shoved straight into the corner, and that's not where you want to be, Riffa. Grimwood is determined to wall them out down there and keep them on that lower ground, but the tri-blast gives them the opening, and Grimwood has to allow Riffa to come back in. They've got to try and play this a little bit more cautiously here. Yes, the bolts are putting them under so much pressure, but that dragon, they can't afford to give Riffa the time and space to get that dragon out free of charge, because these 1-2 chains are just not going their way. Riffa again just walling Grimwood out. They've learnt so much from their encounters with Junior on this stage, and they're using them against Grimwood with the best at their disposal. Finally the rush comes through for Grimwood. 200, 320 damage, but again Grimwood has to land so many successful hits at this stage. 40 seconds left on the clock, otherwise that rush will have been absolutely pointless, as Riffa is just going to hold on to this for as long as they can. The dragon does get a little bit more damage. The popper finally hit. They can't get the follow with the grab, and unfortunately overcommitted with the second grab attempt. Riffa knew they were going to go for it and get a pick of their own. Reset point. And better yet, Riffa held on to the rush as well, so they are looking to try and force Grimwood into a mistake, and that's exactly what they've done. 360 damage, walling on in on the lower ground, and Riffa is just biding their time now. They know full well that Grimwood has it all to do at this stage of the competition, but Grimwood gets a rush of their own. 210 is all they can muster with that exchange though, and still can't quite find the proper purchase of that ram and roaster combo. Finally they do get the stun, but they couldn't quite get the second punch that they were looking for with the roaster, and the bolts and the dragon again combined to just knock Grimwood off his feet. And just like that, Grimwood is in critical. Riffa has rush. Riffa has control of this matchup. Another bolt is going to find its way through. Finally the roaster pegs Riffa down, and the rush is coming out from Grimwood. Big time damage on hand, 365, but Grimwood cannot afford to take any more damage. If the rush comes out from Riffa and connect, it is pretty much all over. So they have to be so patient with this. Another bolt does find its way through, but the roaster hits crucially. It's reset point still for Riffa, but now, crucially, it's championship point as well for Grimwood. Tri-Blast, Ice Dragon, Chakram, Roaster. This will either be the last point of the game, of the tournament, or it will be the dawn of another set. We will soon find out. Both of these players operating at the highest possible level. Grimwood is going to take the first big hits of this match, but the rush from both parties are still being kept on that back pocket. But so far, Riffa with control finally does get tagged by the Ram, and Grimwood has got to find a way of closing this gap and finding a way of slowing that bolt down, trying to go for the jump, but unfortunately another 1-2 wall between the bolts and the dragon awaits them from Riffa. Riffa always has a play ready for when Grimwood comes in with these kind of hits. The arm weak on the left hand side, but can't force the break, and Grimwood now finds themselves in the hot pocket area as well, and Riffa has a massive health lead, finally gets caught with the stun, but Grimwood cannot capitalize on it, and another 1-2 chain takes it away. Grimwood goes for the rush, does not find it in the slightest, only gets 100 damage for their efforts, and I don't know if that will be enough to charge up. Heck, I don't think it'll be enough at all. It's a KO from that rush. And here we go again. It's a reset bracket. Well, off we go again. It's a reset bracket between these two. Riffa has done the hard part. They've managed to bring back another... Don't joke about resets, Spike. I really don't want to hear it at this point. But it is going to be Riffa on the left as Ninjara. Grimwood coming in with Springman. It's going to be double roaster for the Springerling man, as Riffa is just going to bide their time and just try and outpace Springman in every sense of the word. Another Bolt and Dragon combination going to surprise Grimwood on the back foot. The roasters at least still coming through, and obviously Springman so much more quick, so much more nimbler than Max Brass, and look at how quickly Grimwood is throwing into this. Double roaster on the Spring definitely seems to be working in their favor. Riffa is being drowned out by this consistent massive pressure from these roasters, and Springman, I was not expecting to see him make an appearance in this competition, but it's absolutely working wonders for them. Arm weak on the left hand side as Riffa goes for the rush, finally connects it, finally gets big time damage, but now it is Springman's turn to enter that perma buffed up state. So just like with Brass, they'll still have that big old damage that they can bulk out with, and the rush will come up, but Riffa is going to get the way of it, and not only that, get the bolt as well, and against the run of play, Riffa absolutely takes that out of nowhere. So Riffa with the initiative, but can they actually take the first point in this reset bracket? Or is it going to go the way of Grimwood? Grimwood gets pegged down once again as the roaster just flies on past. It is going to be a grab confirmed for Grimwood at the very least. And again, catches Riffa as they went for the jump with the tri-bolt. Really good strategy this. And so far, Riffa does not have a call for it whatsoever. The bolts are being denied. The dragon is pretty much being rendered useless at this stage by Grimwood, who is keeping Riffa chained down. And these hits are so consistent from Grimwood, and Riffa is having to really adapt on the fly here, already down to one hit away. And Grimwood has control, but can they find the finishing blow? We've seen Riffa hang on for dear life from these kind of positions before. Both Riffa rush set and ready to go. Riffa needs to land a lot of 1-2 hits here if they want to peg this from Grimwood, but it's not going to happen this time. And so onwards we go into the final point of match number one. Another ball hit is going to hit and explode in Grimwood's face, as we're going to see the same kind of weapons from Riffa, so they're adapting to this style. And again, another big rush, 370 damage, halves Grimwood down. Grimwood now has to find a rush of their own, but the dragon says no. The rush immediately destroys them, and Grimwood is going to get caught by so many hits back to back, and it looks like that is going to be it. Grimwood just dancing for sheer life And what is happening here? They're both going for a little bit of a dancey approach, but it is going to be Grimwood docking on down, and that is Riffa taking the lead. And so Riffa takes the lead in the reset bracket. And Grimwood is going to bring Kid Cobra into the mix. So Grimwood really going through all of the characters at this stage. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure where this is taking us here. Does Grimwood have something in mind? Well, we're going to see the clapback make an appearance. So another shield arm. Finally, we get to see the reflection. But to be fair, the only thing that'll be reflected back will be the bolts if it hits. The dragon won't really reflect anything back towards Riffa's. Grimwood pops in with the popper as well, trying to go for a much quicker variation of play. But Riffa is just in control at this early stage. Gets hit a couple of times, but again, just chaining on in with the laser. They're not really switching much of their utensils, but again, finally does get pegged down. Their rush not going to land this time round. Again, the damage already done against Grimwood, who is just chained down into critical condition. Finally, rush comes out, actually does land 290 damage, so pops Riffa underneath the halfway mark and finally starts to play that Cobra a little bit more aggressively. But so far, it is Riffa who is still maintaining the health lead as the trampoline comes out on the first point here. And who is this going to favour more? Well, obviously Cobra is not going to mind the trampoline being out whatsoever. They'll slip and slide all over that thing and then use that bounce for good advantage. But so far Riffa, with that now safe hedge from that laser, just gives them that more of a chance to poke on in there. And that's exactly what they have done. So Riffa will absolutely like the fact that there is more range to utilize here as Grimwood again comes in with the pop, immediately gets caught as they go onto the trampoline. And Riffa is just going to fling those bolts and the dragon straight into that area of play to make sure that Grimwood can't do anything from that. Every single time they try to go on the offensive, they just got there immediately called for. Having said that though, the rush actually goes Grimwood's way. Riffa popped it just as Grimwood took the high ground, and they both exchange blows and send them back onto the opposite sides of the arena. Grimwood tries to slip and slide away. They're both literally just trading hits at this stage, and again, both of them being tagged down. But the more these trades keep happening, the less this favors Riffa as they find themselves into critical, poked on down by the popper as well. And again, this relentless pressure from Grimwood is actually turning this back in their favor. Grimwood is slowly wresting control back away from the reigning champ, but they're just looking for one more crucial hit with 40 seconds to go, and they find it. Can Grimwood find a way to yoink this point away from Riffa as the trampoline finally starts to go in Grimwood's favor? Tries to go for the grab, doesn't get it. Tries to go for the rush, doesn't get that either. The dragon somehow denies them that, and the rush comes through for Riffa. 310 damage. That's the last thing that Grimwood needed. And just like that, Grimwood finds themselves past the halfway mark. They're trying to just close this gap in and make Riffa's life hell. But Riffa, again, with the Tri-Blast, just continues to shut Grimwood down. Finally past the 75% mark, but can't get any further than that. Grimwood on the cusp of critical. Both of our players with rush pretty much set and ready to go. Another quick little juggle for Grimwood. Finally starts to slice this health down, and the rush does find purchase. 315. It puts Riffa into critical, but knowing full well that if Riffa hits their rush, it could still be curtains for them. Another 1-2 chain sees Grimwood hit the deck. Arm weak and down on the right hand side. It gets broken in the process, so Riffa can't fling in with the rush, but to be fair, they don't need it. And the reigning champion is 2-0 up in the bracket reset. Dear goodness me. 5 matches in the grand final and 2 matches in the reset. And Grimwood has left. Grimwood has forfeited. We will not have a third match in this reset. And for the 20th time in this cup's history, Ritha is going to win the EU Arms Challenge Cup. He wins it in back-to-back weeks as well. He continues to be your reigning and defending EU Arms Challenge Cup champion.